Hey y'all, happy Wednesday. We're gonna get going here in a minute. My shirt's crooked. Anyways, we are gonna start going through these exhibits. Buckle up because this is a lot. These are a little bit heavy hitting, but let's just go through it and see what you guys think. But I did fix a little bit of the intro. So I am going to play that right quick and then we'll get going. All right. Oh, hold on. Sorry, I'm on the wrong page. I'm over here. Hey, Bridget. I hope you do too. Hey, CCK, Grandma Sherry, Luton's, Brittany. All right. We're gonna hop right into this. I hope you're doing well too, Boston Bridget. This is gonna be a lot, so I'm not gonna really waste a whole lot of time. Hey, Lorraine. Okay, y'all, these are a lot. There's a lot in here. So this is going to be a continuation for those of you that don't know what we're talking about. This is the continuation from the lawsuit that was filed on November 27th, 2023 against Operation Underground Railroad, Tim Ballard and Sean Reyes, Utah Attorney General Sean Reyes, who has somehow decided to, I guess, switch gears, and now he believes the victims after all of these years magically. Shocking. Utah politics at its finest. But we went over Sean Reyes's recent statements and what he's claiming about not running for re-election, resignation, whatever the case may be. In my opinion, he shouldn't even be sitting in office, period, point blank, end of story. There's nothing more to it. I am probably going to do a little bit of political stuff, not in this one, but there are some discussions that I want to have because I have been seeing so much ignorance spewed by people in this community that segue into other communities and other things that I just, sometimes that stuff really triggers me. And I have a hard time keeping my mouth shut. And it's one of those things that I'm not here to make your feelings comfy. The reality is these things need talked about. We are going to continue on talking about all of the stuff in Utah, and that's why we're continuing with this. So we read through the entire lawsuit that was filed on November 27th. These are the exhibits that go along with the lawsuit. So let's hop into it because it is a lot, and I'm going to pull it up on screen for you guys so you can see it. I'll make it bigger. The first one is 49 pages. This will probably take us multiple parts, just so you guys are aware, because I don't know how much I can stomach at one point in time with all of these. And they go to X. So there is a lot of exhibits. But we're going to look through and read through them all. I haven't really seen anybody talking about these. Hey, Snowfly. And this, in my opinion, is something that should be talked about because this gives the voices to the victims. And this is the important things that people are claiming there's no proof of these allegations. It was just a political smear campaign. Hey, Chico, my love. It was just a political smear campaign because Tim Ballard was going to run for Senate. That was never the case. That has never been the case. That will never be the case. There is nothing to do with this. That is because he was going to run for Senate. These allegations started over 3 years ago. This has been going on. This is not something new. This is just how it is. So you don't have to take my word for it. Hey, Chesh. Hey, Britt. First off, how is Bella? Thank you for asking. Hey, Marcy. Bella is happy as can be. Like my shirt I put out for Santa. Bella, can you say hi? Can you say hi to everybody? That's why I was late, because Bella decided she needed to go on and have a little run outside for a little bit. So, and then she gets really mad at me because I have to carry her up the stairs, and she's not such a happy one about being carried. Oh, no, you're totally fine. We are going to go over the exhibits that are attached to the lawsuit that is filed against Tim Ballard, Operation Underground Railroad, and Attorney General Sean Reyes, Utah's Attorney General Sean Reyes. All of these people have ties to the LDS Church, along with the extremist propaganda pushing machines such as QAnon, Jim Caviezel, all of that stuff. So these people that have been involved in the Sound of Fraud, I mean, in my opinion, Sound of Fraud movie, Freedom, whatever it's called, that needs to be pulled off of the shelves. Anyways, this all kind of circulates around this. But these are the exhibits that are attached to the lawsuit that was filed November 27th. We still haven't even gone over the November 20th, and I did buy those, and I have all those to go over too, which that is a whole nother situation. Oh my gosh, Chesh, she had a stroke. I don't know, you've been on vacation, but she had a stroke a week ago, and she's doing much better, but now she can't like walk up the stairs by herself or anything. So and I'm not supposed to carry her, but I've been carrying her up and down the stairs, and she gets really mad if she gets picked up. She growls at you, which is great. I know, Lorraine, she shows out for the camera recently. Normally she thinks it takes her soul. Isabella, her ears are perked up even. She's all, hey, SL. Okay, let's get into this and let's get going. Let's dive in. Hey, Rockabit. Oh, you guys, by the way, too, I've been asked for months to add additional tiers to my YouTube. I am going to do that. I'm going to still keep them reasonable. Just so you guys are aware. No, I don't like to do anything without being transparent with you guys, but I will be adding a couple other tier options. I don't really know what I'm going to do with the perk situation yet, so please just bear with me a little bit, but I will be doing that. That has been a request that I've been asked for. My other channel is not monetized yet. It is able to be monetized. I don't know if I'm going to do that. That's kind of Kyle's channel and mine and Kenzie's, so we'll see what happens there. But I've always been transparent with you guys, and I will continue to be always. So, hey, Donna, thanks for joining. Hey, Rowena. It's good to see you guys. Okay. Buckle up. Let's do this. Okay. Exhibit A. Now, if you need a refresher on the lawsuit, that is part 1 of this series. They're all linked in the Utah Controversies playlist. Please feel free, if you're a creator, grab anything out of them you want. If there's stuff in the lawsuits that you would like, I've bought them all. I'm more than willing to share with anybody. The thing for me is on this is knowledge is power, and the victims deserve to be heard. Hey, Pika. It's good to see you guys. Okay. Exhibit A, December 6th, 2021, Tim Ballard blessing highlights. Because of the nature of the priesthood blessing given and the power felt during the administration of the blessing, as I rehearse what I can remember regarding it, I fear in trying to summarize it. It may assuredly take away from the flow and true purpose and meaning of the blessing. Some of the main points might certainly be excluded in my trying to recollect what was conveyed. So here are my impressions to the best of what I can presently remember, praying that what is now difficult to recall may be conveyed back to me so I can share the process and content with you, the receiver. The fact that you have been given many PH priesthood blessings by your father, brother, President Ballard, and others was very evident and important. This fact was given to me and was emphasized significantly so I could see the importance of combining all of those blessings into one. It was emphasized by the Spirit for me to consider that this combining was taking place. It was clear that all these individuals who had blessed you in the past love and care deeply for you. This blessing I was giving you was somehow a confluence of all the blessings received. Like at the time of giving the blessing, all the previous blessings you had received were in a predestined pattern, flowing together into one great whole, like they, in some fashion, built upon each other and were coming together at this crucial time in your life for some grand purpose. I could feel this happening by seeing a swirling, blending motion, seeing in my mind's eye all these administrations flowing together in a manner sent from above to incorporate them all into one for strength and solidarity purposes. This confluence made the whole stronger and were prepared in a way that made them easier for your spirit and body to digest, incorporate, and integrate them all into one. The legions of righteous spirits from the other side were evident and spoken of in the blessing. Many had gathered for the purpose of this blessing to cheer and grieve with you. They had and still are pleading with Father on behalf of you, Catherine, and your family's spiritual and physical welfare. This time is a crossroads for you, and they were there to pull and see you through this time of sorrow and testing. They are seeking deliverance, help, and heavenly support in this crucial journey. The dark forces that are now conspiring against you and have been for a year or longer were made evident, and they were rebuked in the name of Jesus Christ to return from whence they came and no longer have power to disturb your peace. You are instructed to no longer go to the place of the dwelling in operation. A reason you are suffering so severely is that you do not live, think, or function as they do, and that you can no longer waste your spiritual and physical time and energy trying to discover their hellish plans and schemes, but that you will soon rise above them so their plans will be totally frustrated and brought to naught. These forces, both earthbound and evilly possessed, are united to bring you down to their level, darkness and dysfunction, by the power of the priesthood in the name of Jesus Christ. They were rebuked that the dark influences inside of you and outside of you were cast out and sent on their way. These evil minions have placed blockages, stumbling blocks, and diversions upon the path that the Lord has set forth for you. You are blessed that their ways will be frustrated. Their stumbling blocks directed at you were removed, and all their hard work will come to naught. The adversary is unsuccessfully trying to thwart the work that God has planned for you to accomplish. It feels like their power is great. However, you are promised that there are more with you than that stand against you. You will soon see this reality, and it will drastically change how you view those who are against you. Those who stand with you will grow to a point of overwhelming powers of darkness. The tide of destruction will turn to ruin upon the heads of those against you. It seemed there will be a companion given to assist you in these future works, someone that will strengthen the process. As you continue to walk uprightly and manifest your belief in the Father and his Son, so shall your humility grow in strength and wisdom. Increase your willingness to be teachable, and you will be taught great things. Allow your cup to be full and overflowing with the teachings of the Lord. He desires to teach you. God, I feel like Tyler fucking Feller right now. Oh, too much. You will then have the confidence necessary to stand in your relationship with God and seek his will and enjoy the peace of his teaching. Not man's or men's, but God's. And whoso receiveth you, I will be there. There I will be also, for I will go before your face. I will be on your right hand and on your left, and my spirit shall be in your hearts, and mine angels round about you to bear you up. You are a gift given to Christ by the Father, which will be tested in the furnace of affliction to rise above the percepts of men and take your rightful place with those who follow him at all costs, depths, and situations. Do not look at what is presently happening as what you think it is, for it is what you are being prepared for shortly. How short ye know not. How long is not shown unto you. Do not limit yourself by present thinking and limited vision. All these things will be revealed here a little and there a little. For the stones, mountains, valleys know what will soon come to pass. However, you do not know the where, when, and wherefore. This unknown is what is trying your soul, patience, and well being. It will all be revealed in time. Have patience, my son. Prepare for what is right around the corner, for it is not what you think. It is far different than what you have ever considered. Trust in the timing of it all. Just go forward, willing to give up all you have created for a much greater work and a greater assignment. Open your heart and mind to keep it opened. Words were given you to gather support, and those who will support you in what is ahead for you. For those with these thousands and hundreds of thousands and even millions which you will gather, the support needed will come to you to sustain you in preparation for your future roles and responsibilities. Like in the sequel to The Sound of Freedom. I mean, that wasn't there. That was me. You are blessed that your heart, mind, spirit, understanding, and vocabulary will be expanded to gather this support from all over the country and world to accomplish your mission in life's work. Oh, you are is not that work. It was just your starting point because of the present division in your heart, mind, and spirit. They were blessed to again work together and no longer be divided. You were protected against all opposition, that they will have no power over you. The law enforcement, the courts, police, and all who fight against you will be frustrated in their attempts. You will come forth triumphant and successful. Tim, there was so much more given, which was coming so fast that my mind can now not remember. Thank you for the opportunity to be the voice. God continue to bless you as a son, husband, father, brother, friend, learner, and fellow traveler on earth. Sincerely, Tom Harrison. Do any of you know who Tom Harrison is? Anybody? Yes, it is, Donna. Donna's correct. So Tom Harrison is Spencer from the book Visions of Glory. If you think back to the Lori Vallow, the Chad Daybell, the writings of Visions of Glory, present time, even to the Frankie situation, Jody Hildebrandt, Visions of Glory have played a role. That book, The Visions of Tom Harrison, who is a child psychologist, is the person writing this. This is Tom Harrison that gave Tim Ballard this blessing. Spencer from the book, Visions of Glory. This is why this is included in this. But one thing that I think I'm going to point out again, hey, Marianne, this right here is very interesting to me. Let me go back to where it says. You were protected against all opposition, that they will have no power over you. The law enforcement, the courts, police, and all who fight against you will be frustrated in their attempts. You will come forth triumphant and successful. Yep. Tom Harrison did. Yep. That is correct. Hey, B. Fergs. Y'all, this is an absolute disaster right off the bat. Exhibit A, we're starting with Tom Harrison from Visions of Glory. Visions of Glory, for those of you that aren't quite familiar, is a very interesting read. I started reading some of it, and let me just say, we're gonna have a lot of frustrating things to read through today. To Tim, through Tom, I am a second witness. Ken, you know who Ken is? Anybody know who Ken is? Ken Krogh? Thank you, B. Fergs. I know, right, Lorraine? Donna, yes. That was that one right there. Let me go back up and tell you the exact date. This is from 2021, but let me get you the exact date. December 6th, 2021. You know what? I'm going to have to go back in the timeline and look at that stuff. Yeah. December 6th, 2021. Ken Krogh is who is the second one is mentioning, I'm positive of. So Ken Krogh is also a part of the Spear Fund, for those of you guys that do not know. And the Spear Fund is the 501c that they set up for Tim Ballard when he was removed from OUR because of the sexual assault allegations against him and the cover-up that they tried to do. So the Spear Fund is what they set him up with. And Ken Krogh is part of the Spear Fund. He is also a high-ranking LDS member. Okay, let's continue on with this. This is Exhibit B. These are going to be long and very frustrating, and I feel like fucking Tyler Feller. Sorry, y'all. I am not standing before you, giving you a sermon, anything like that. I'm reading what's on here. It's boring as hell, but it's very interesting for those of us that are in this rabbit hole. This is kind of eye-opening BS. All right, here we go. And I will try to keep the dramatics down a little bit. I just can't help myself. To Tim through Tom, I am a second witness, Ken. Saturday, August 5th, 2023, 6:15 p.m. This came to me regarding Tim from the writings of 2 Corinthians 6. As the ministers of God to administer to his children, you have been called by apostolic decree. It takes much patience in affliction, distresses, and in necessities to accomplish such responsibilities and foreordinations as you have been called. Hold on, let's make this bigger. There, now I can see it. In writings and revelings, you are caused to endure and suffer much. You will be sustained by the pureness of speech, by pure knowledge from God. Long suffering will be demanded. For where much is given, much is of necessity required. Then the kindness of the Holy Ghost will comfort and sustain you. His unfeigned love will sustain you, not like the feigned love of friends, past supporters, and family who have abandoned you for filthy money, lies, conspiracy, and all manner of greediness, selfishness, and false accusations. You will be sustained by the word of truth, by the power of God unto righteousness, by his armor of righteousness. He will go before you on your right and on your left, before you dispel falsehoods, and to be at your rear ward, to defend your back. You have and will continue to receive honor and dishonor, evil as well as good report, and be surrounded and assailed by deceivers as well as those who are yet true and will remain upright before you. You have been prophetically proclaimed to be known and unknown by your enemies and the enemies of truth and righteousness before the children of God, known to those who will support you in times of trouble and grief. Your grief and shame have gone before the ears of the God of the Sabbath. He gathered and heard thy sorrows, despair, and pain. You have felt like dying, yet behold, you live to fight another day for the salvation of his children and the covenants he has made with the nation. The covenant that will save the remnant of America. You will be chastened, yet not killed, beaten, yet not bloodied. In your sorrowful heart, there is always rejoicing of what you have seen, what has been shown you, and what will continue to parade before your eyes and live in your heart. You will live on to see the destruction of this nation, the abandonment of righteous ideals. The Constitution hangs in the balance of unrighteous leadership and the selfish desires of conspiring men and women. Kind of like Tim Ballard, Sean Reyes, Mike Lee. And I could go on and on and on. Glenn Beck, Tony Robbins, Brad Barrett, Matt Cooper. Should I continue to go? I mean, that's my opinion. You know, those men that seem to be conspiring, in my opinion. You will stand as a solitary witness of all you have warned the nations of, and you will see those who offend his little ones fall into the traps they have set for men like you to stumble into. Nations will rise up and call you blessed, nations you know not of, and you will say in your heart, where have these nations come from? Where are these been born of? To redeem this nation from Babylon the Great. These, with their banners so terrible, will fight with weapons never before imagined. They will not slumber or sleep before the battle is won. It's cut off right here. Necessities to accomplish such responsibility for, wait, did they put, they copied this. Hold on. Let me find. Okay. These with their banners so terrible will fight with weapons never before imagined. They will not slumber or sleep before the battle is won. Their battle and yours is being won. United as the righteous deliverance of the captive, valiant and true. Cease all filthy conversations. Shrink not or faint. You are held up by faith, prophecy, and foreordained to do this work. Heal the breach in your marriage. Pray for those who speak evil against you. Love those that hate you, for many will fall into the pit they have dug for you. I am with you always, your Savior, your Redeemer, and friend. Your battle is mine. Your ways are becoming my ways. Make now your heart, your mind, my mind. I feel like we need some dramatic background music. These things are uttered in righteousness and under the sacred and holy name of Jesus Christ. Amen. To be distributed to Tim and to Todd and Ken and their dear spouses. Anybody need puke buckets? Should I have handed them out at the door? Celeste, amen. Can I say an amen up in here? So the reason why these are included is because the extreme nature of Tom Harrison, who is, again, a child psychologist, and these priesthood blessings and these blessings that Tim and OUR were doing the Lord's work, and above all, law enforcement, the courts, everything, they had these blessings, and they would continue to push this off, that he was so gifted. He was going to be not only the next president of the United States after he became a senator, but he was also going to be the leader, the next prophet of the LDS Church. If you think back to some of the things that we've learned through all of this, they were using a psychic for intel on these ops that they were supposedly going all over the world and saving these children. Not only that, but Tim Ballard himself was getting ketamine infusions, high dose ketamine infusions with a scribe. They were going in and scribbling all this insanity down. This is why this is all included in this lawsuit. I know it seems a little bit odd, but that's why. Oh, now we're going back to 2017. January 11th, 2017. And this is, Dear Mr. Fortune, I am extremely grateful for your heroic work in the efforts to eliminate human trafficking in Haiti. Without strong leaders like yourself, we are not able to forge our way forward to make this world a better place. Please accept my outstretched helping hand to you and the people of Haiti to work together on these issues. If you remember in the lawsuit, we are talking about the advocate that was actually working in the human trafficking field, and many of these places that they were going in, OUR was going in and causing problems and lying to people and manipulating trafficking victims and other people's stories of what was really going on. They were twisting and turning details to spin a new narrative and fundraise off of those stories. That was a huge piece of the lawsuit. That's why a lot of this is included. Okay, I would like to extend an invitation to you and a delegation from Haiti to join me in Washington, D.C. at a date convenient for you to discuss the fight against human trafficking. It is important that your perspective is included in discussions on pending federal legislation. When you visit Washington, D.C., I will help facilitate meetings with U.S. Senator Orrin Hatch and Congresswoman Mia Love. This will allow you to weigh in on the Hatch anti-trafficking bill, which I wholeheartedly support. I understand you were not able to visit us in Salt Lake City for the January 2018 Human Trafficking Awareness Month, where many Utah anti-human trafficking groups were honored. I have a deep personal love for Haiti because of my experience with OUR, Rafa House, and Foyer de Sion, Gacinio Marty's, which Gardy Marty, the reason why OUR or Tim Ballard claims he got into this work, that is Gardy's father's orphanage in Haiti. I look forward to your favorable reply, and I'm extremely excited to meet with you in Washington, D.C. Please reach out to my executive assistant, Miss Rebecca Lee, who will be able to provide further details and accommodate any of your needs. Email, blah, 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 phone number. And that, my friends, is signed none other than Sean Reyes, Utah's Attorney General, who is not going to be running for office in 2024, who shouldn't be in office in 2023 or able to serve out the rest of his, in my opinion. I was going to say a sentence, but it's more like a sentence for the people of Utah. Exhibit D, forwarded message. This is from November 5th, 2015. Subject line says meetings, blank. I hope you are well, and both blank and I wish you were here. We continue to talk about the value of having you be a part of OUR, particularly in your talent to see where you can engage people and intuition of knowing how to make things work. Have you had any reply from blank about his friend in the government and contact information? Also, have you heard from the head of blank? I forgot her name and the potential of meeting with her contacts in law enforcement. I look forward to catching up when we get back. A lot of this is redacted. Exhibit E. This is from OUR. This is part of their OUR stories. Holiday, August 16th, 2016. The winding narrow roads of, Kathmandu begin to quiet as the sun lowers over the mountains. A new atmosphere descends upon the streets, different from that of the bustling day, where vendors loudly sell their wares and trekking tourists idly walk by, bumping into one another in the sea of people. The night seems somehow quieter and the streets more deserted as darkness lowers, and suddenly that quiet is pierced by rays of neon lasers and booming music from above, and a smaller world of Kathmandu nightlife emerges in the form of rooftop dance bars. Although many times one must know where to look and what to look for in order to find a dance bar, the skyline of Kathmandu streets are blatantly peppered with such establishments. Blank, a young girl who had been sexually abused by and sold to various male family members and friends from the age of 9 to 15, was a captive forced to dance at one such dance bar. An OUR jump team member describes most dance bars as typically a dirty, empty room scattered with random old chairs, hideous neon lights glaring out from the walls, and music blaring so loudly that you cannot even think. In the middle of those rooms are young women, often minors, who have been sold to the bar and are now forced to dance on a small stage. It is not the type of dance that often comes to mind for many people. Rather, the young girls look miserable and often do not, and must be a part missing. Life of captivity. She was then relocated to a local shelter that empowers young women and minors who have been sold as sex slaves on their journey of healing. This is posted in OUR's stories, just for a little bit of background for those of you that might get confused by some of these exhibits. OUR has a tendency and a habit for all of the years. It's been established in 2013, so going on 10 years now, of taking stories from other countries, these girls that have gone through things, not even sex trafficking, but they have a way of taking their stories, twisting the details around them, and then posting them on their website for fundraising efforts. We've looked at many of those over the time, and this is what they've been historically known to do. In the lawsuit that we reviewed that goes with these exhibits, they talked significantly about twisting these victims' stories to use for fundraising efforts. So, hey, y'all coming in. Thanks for being here with me. At this new shelter, blank chose her new name, meaning blank. She shed not only her family name and the bonds of what they had done to her and renamed herself blank as a representation of a new life and new beginning and for her body, spirit, mind, and future. The young women at these shelters, blank included, learn new skills such as sewing or schooling, and become each other's new family, calling each other sister and naming the staff as mother. Blank had always dreamed of going to school and thus chose that as her skill. She attended and graduated high school and is now focusing on completing university. These skills give the young women who have been used and sold for their bodies for so much of their life, new confidence and pride in themselves so that they do not easily fall subject to being re-trafficked. Now, again, a lot of these were not trafficking victims to begin with. The whole premise of the Sound of Freedom movie was because this was Tim's life, his life's work, right? That was what he led him to make the Sound of Freedom, was because he was the CIA agent. Allegedly wasn't the case, but that's why Sound of Freedom was made. That's why OUR got involved, was to help rescue all of these trafficking victims. Meanwhile, a lot of these stories weren't even trafficking stories to begin with, but they have twisted and tweaked them. They are no longer just a body that can be bought and sold. It is a different type of self-worth, says the Jump team member. Oh, hold on. One not based on a dollar sign, but rather one full of pride and possibility and hope. When they include the Jump team member, they marketed themselves as a paramilitary operation that was going into all of these countries to rescue these trafficking victims that are in these horrible situations. There has been almost no one except a couple female operators and 2 males that I can confirm that had any previous military or law enforcement experience that worked with OUR. So these paramilitary operations that they claim they were not it. They were flying first class to these places, staying in 5-star hotels. Members of an OUR Jump team found themselves at one such shelter recently during Holi, a Hindu religious holiday where people playfully and joyously throw colored dye at each other in the streets. There is so much laughter, food, music, and dancing. It is a celebration that enlivened the streets of Kathmandu and gave the people a day of cheer and I can't talk. A welcome respite from the hardship that has become daily life for most in Nepal after the crushing earthquake in March of 2015. And this goes right hand in hand with the advocate that gave her statement about how they were using the victims at the shelters' stories and twisting them for fundraising efforts. That is to back that up. Yeah, Celeste, I agree. He should have resigned. He should have just been out. Yeah, that's what they're trying. So these exhibits all go with the lawsuit because of how, it's stated that they were using these victims' stories and nothing was making sense. Exhibit F. September 7th, 2016 at 3:03 a.m. A newsletter from an organization called Operation Underground Railroad that was posted on August 16th, 2016 was sent to me. That is very concerning. OUR seems to be taking credit for the rescue of one of our girls here at the shelter who we took in 2 years ago. Not only were they not given permission to share her story, they changed and manipulated it to fit their needs, and we are appalled. Kind of what I was just saying. In the blog post, it says that blank was sexually abused and sold to various male family members and friends from the age of 9 to 15, was a captive forced to dance at one such dance bar. This statement, along with several others in the post, are completely false, as she was never sold or worked in a dance bar. She was assaulted by her father and grandfather and only rescued when she attempted suicide, and the police brought her here to blank Nepal. These lies are exploiting blank's tragic story and should not have been written. I'm not sure who wrote the article and how they got their information, but it is not okay, and I would never approve such an article about one of our girls. A picture of our shelter was also included in the post without our permission. Although the post has since been taken down, our trust with OUR has been broken. Our advisor from the U.S., blank, has been an advisor and representative for us for a year now. I requested for her and blank to meet with the OUR Jump team on my behalf as I was engaged with another program. Our original connection with OUR was made by her personal request to me. She had hoped that OUR would be able to help our organization with funding and rescuing girls. Yet all this relationship has to show is a false blog post about one of our girls. There you have it, folks. You saw the post that they made. Here's the email follow-up. Let's carry on to Exhibit G. MDCAJ blinked out. M says, so how are you? D says, a bit emotional, to be honest with you, blank. M says, huh? D says, bit emotional. M says, uh-huh. D says, yeah, let me introduce blank to you. Cody, do you want to talk about Cody? Cody's come on. This is only his second time out, but he has a long history and experience in the NGO world. He is former military. M, uh-huh. C, yeah, I'm from Colorado as well. I did 6.5 years in the US Navy working the landmines and things like that. When I got done, I actually started doing volunteer work and kept using landmines in other countries, the EAL project. Then after that, I got on with an NGO, an organization in Colorado called Subs International. Been working in Pakistan, Afghanistan, Israel, fighting crimes against children investigations. Also worked with UNHCR and UNWRA in Palestine, investigating crimes against refugees in Palestine. So pretty extensive background as far as working in diverse places around the world. So just came on with OUR not too long ago. M says, yeah, nice to meet you. So how long have you been working with OUR? C says, blank, who you met last time, blank and I met and worked and known each other for about a year off and on. And then he was bouncing around other organizations, done work. And then just the last few months working with OUR as they've begun to open up spots because of the growing need. D says, we had myself and blank were spread very thin across a lot of countries. So we held a recruitment process to get more say. We needed to create a more permanent presence in the countries we operate in. And that's one of our reasons for coming back into Nepal. We need continuity in the fields. We need to be able to support our partners, and I need glasses. And we just didn't have the manpower to do that. So we sort of had a break for a little bit. We hired some really pretty impressive people, and we're back to trying to start creating a more permanent presence in the countries we operate in. The purpose of this particular trip is, number one, we needed to touch base with blank because we needed to find out what happened after the last operation. It wasn't great, as we've mentioned. So we needed to touch base with him. And also we wanted to touch base with you to see how we can work together to try and raise you guys some money. So we've been out here 4 times now. There was 1 or 2 times prior to me and blank coming aboard. On the 23rd of August, blank actually sent an email saying to the office saying, okay, guys, we've been out to blank plenty of times now. We need to really start trying to support them. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that today as well. I don't know if this is a meeting that's been transcribed. When we came in the other day, we got a very hostile welcome from blank and blank. They lied to us. We felt manipulated by them. We were very open and honest with them, and we were really insulted by the way they treated us because we feel as though they manipulated you as well. Now I'm not going to go into semantics and specifics. Blank required to make a public apology by law to OUR because there are other things that have been happened in the States, not just to us as well. We were really disappointed, honestly, though we don't care about that. Our primary concern is the girls. That's number 1. And you, blank, are number 2. We just want to work together. We don't point fingers at anyone. I've been doing this side of prevention for 5 years. I've been doing intervention for 6 years now. The best way forward is just to work together. I get a little bit frustrated when organizations, instead of providing constructive criticism and making suggestions, which people have done for us in the past, they just make accusations, and a lot of the time they are unfounded as well. Going on, OUR does have a very aggressive marketing strategy, which I don't like, especially for me. I don't have Facebook. I read the news in the morning. And that's the extent of my online behavior. And I know that I've missed out on a few conversations myself with you because I do not have Facebook. But blank taking care of that. When they showed us the article of blank, that was the first time I'd seen it. I just don't know anything about the marketing side to that. I know that when they read it at the table, I really didn't like it. I contacted OUR straight away and they took it down immediately. But into further investigation, Lewis had advised that you had actually signed off on that. And he's forwarded me the messages to say that. Now, I don't care who did this, who did that. My only concern is blank. So she thinks that we did it. We are happy to take the fall for that. We really are, because we don't want to do or say anything that's going to ruin our relationship, your relationship with her or the other girls, okay? We wanted to come down here and apologize if things were taken out of context, because I believe they were. And I just want to move forward because there's so much. We've stopped operations here because of this. And I just feel totally cheated. There's so much we can be doing. We just want to move forward. That's all. So this is going hand in hand with, if you remember back to the lawsuit, and I know it gets crazy because there's so much to this, but this is going back to when the advocate was realizing that they were using the stories and she was trying to correct the misinformation that was being spread by OUR, Tim Ballard, and using the girls at the shelters' stories and twisting them for fundraising efforts. So this is the documentation and the messages back and forth because of that. Just so everybody knows. Okay, this is going to be a lot, y'all. Sorry. We met with blank and we offered some training. We've got the same training on in Thailand, and it was really well received. We showed blank its tactical training, totally unrelated to what we do, but what it does. It really gets us to know the police teams and helps develop a relationship with them. Then after the training, we've organized for the FBI to come to fly free for the Center of Victim Advocacy to provide victim identification training for the police and for any other NGO that would want to be a part of it. And we need you guys to help with that. We are really concerned here that we were told we don't care about aftercare. We have no control over where these girls go. That's why we come here so often. This is an aftercare shelter. This is an intervention. This is an aftercare shelter, and we need to develop a relationship with you guys because you are the people who are in the country, and we rely on you for that. We're investigators. We don't go out and rescue girls on our own. We only do it with the trusted law enforcement. Now, blank, that we believe he's a good guy. He told us his team are out of line, and he's wrong. It was kind of funny, actually. He said, well, I'll say that our team stuffed up the arrest if you guys say your guys left too early. And we were like, yep, we're happy with that. And that was very humbling. It shows how dedicated he is. His team might need a bit more training, but he also mentioned he doesn't entirely trust anyone that's working for him. We believe he's a good guy, and he's the sort of person we want to work with. If we go into a country and can't find a trusted police officer, then we don't work there. We've learned over the years that we need to pick and choose our fights. It's as simple as that. I've walked away from so many situations where I thought, shit, I can do this myself. And then what am I going to do? So as much as it hurts us, it chips away at us every time we go out. Every single time we go out, it takes a little bit away from our soul because we have to go in there. We have to see it. And then we have to walk out, and that's it. We've never, ever done a hard rescue. We've never taken someone. We only ever used police the majority of the time. We don't actually, what we do with blank, we don't normally do. We prefer if they go and do it. We prefer if they go and do it and not involve us because, number one, it protects us. One of the things that has really worked out for us across other countries is that criminals don't know the Westerners are working for the police. So it's really important to keep out. This is crazy. With regards to myself asking for blank's story, I didn't actually know that that blog was there. What I wanted to do, we sent out an email. Lewis sent out an email. I can give it to you or I can read it to you. This was to everyone at the office, dated 23rd of August. Hello, everyone. I wanted to reach out and to see if we could help out our partner in Nepal, blank, who is the founder and CEO, has helped open doors and assisted OUR operating in Nepal probably more than anyone. The shelter has welcomed OUR on many occasions and has been very generous. We have also shared the success stories of the children at blank and other things that they have done in Nepal. I know that there were some promises to assist them before I came on to OUR. I do not know the specifics of those promises. Blank has reached out to me a number of times to see if OUR could assist with the new shelter in the transition into it. The current shelter that they're in, which we have been to many times, is condemned and collapsing due to the 2015 earthquake. Below is the link to the campaign to raise funds for the shelter. I do not think that OUR is in the position to assist financially, but maybe we can either post on our media outlets or assist in campaigning for them. I want to make sure that OUR does some part to assist our partners whom have done so much for us. I would also hate for us to do a negative reputation to those who have much say in whether we work in Nepal or not. We currently do not have any rescue survivors at the shelter. We possibly could in the future, but as in most countries, we don't always have a say. Still, they have been instrumental to our ability to operate there. Damien and a small team will also be meeting with Blank in a week or so when they head to Nepal. It would be great to show up with some effort to assist them in this time. I'm open to anyone's thoughts. Then it goes back to, so they put together a campaign. I told them not to run it. M said, where did he send it to? D says on the 23rd of August. M says August 23rd. D says last month. So myself and Blank spoke. M says that was sent by Blank to whom? D says, yeah, to our OUR internal office because we've been out here. M says after that, the news was published. D says, sorry. J says, it was published before that. D says, yes, it was published. M says, before that? D says, yes. M says, and how they'll get information from Blank? You gave them? So this is transcripts of the conversations that were going back and forth between the people that the advocate worked for in Nepal and the girls that they had been rescuing and the OUR team. D says, so we do 2 reports. We do a day report, which is just a bullet points holding us accountable for the time we spend in the field. And the second report are specific reports about investigations that we did with children, which you are saying, I think you've seen a few copies. With that particular report, it was basically then taking creative licensing, which I wasn't aware of. I didn't like it. I hated it. I thought it was disgusting personally. But what they did was they took the day report and said, Kamari stood up and did an amazing, incredible speech. I was crying. Everyone was crying. And that was it. And then the volunteer who wrote it, the blogger who wrote it, the volunteer has put that together with our reports and just assumed that Blank was a victim from a dance bar. That's all it was. M says, and that did not know to you. Sorry, you guys, I'm reading it as it is. D says, no, I promise that was the first time I'd seen it. Blank sent you a copy before they published it. M says, no, he did not send it. D says, I have the messages here. M says, do you have a copy of what he sent to me that was received to me? D says, yeah, this is, he only sent me screenshots. So they're here. I can read it. Oh, sorry. So this one, next one, and then your reply. They're only screenshots. M says, yeah. He was saying he prepared the reports, but he never shared to us. Only he was saying we prepared the report. And I told him, yes, you can send to me, but he never sent us to the report. When was the report? D says, M says, this was a conversation in Facebook. D says, yeah. M goes on to say, yeah, he wrote me. We were so impressed of Blank work. And he's writing here, can help to respond Blank and Nepal people. That's fine for us because we need help from the international delegates. That's why I took you, the Blank, because of our mission also in sexual exploitation and trafficking. And OUR also mission was the same. So if I have to go somewhere, we need money. Without money, we cannot take in our shelter. And that's the reality and practical. So if we need funding. That's why he was writing this. We are searching the funding for you. But I did not know he was going to post Blank's fake blog. D says, yeah, okay. But it actually says so in that. M says, he is saying we are going to raise funds for Blank, but he never says I'm going to post Blank's story and this. D says, it says there, he wrote it here. We had one of our bloggers write a story that is semi-fictional. that we heard while we were at the shelter, along with other stories we heard from other victims told. Holy crap. So they knew that these were fictional stories. It says it right there. It says there, he wrote it. We had one of our bloggers write a story that is semi-fictional that we heard while we were there at the shelter, along with other stories we heard from other victims told. Hem says, that does not mention blank. He did not send us report. D says, you didn't receive it. M says, yeah. D says, okay, well, that changes it because here it says we do not share this donor situations or with. M says, he have to like. D says, please let me know if there are any issues with the story our blogger wrote. I'll send it by email. Thank you. And I hope to see you soon. M says he never sent it. D says, then you replied, yes, it is fine. So M says, so yeah, you can see the first. You can see that is everybody needs our consent because we have a lot of experience. We are working with a lot of international organizations. D says, absolutely. M says they could come here, they could meet us because we are for the society. So anyone can meet, anyone can get information. We can't hide any information because if we hide how international attention will get. But first of all, they have to be clear which type of report, which type of story, and what type of blog, audio, video they want to. We need first consent later. C says that's something we spoke with blank about and how this event has shown that the process broke down. Communication wasn't there. So this is the side opportunity to refine those things because you're completely right. It is the fact that the organizations have to have a final say in it because you guys are the ones that are doing the work and that you're the ones, if the story were to have negative repercussions, you are the ones who would feel that immediately. So I think it's an opportunity. I mean, only having been here for a few months with OUR, I've left other organizations very quickly because of the way they were operated. They're so young. What the hell? This is a mess. And so are you going to quit? C says, when blank, it was so hard for me to sit there. I mean, I was very emotional. Damien, Dan, and myself are all very I mean, I had to get up and leave because I was sick because I've seen this in other places in the world. I mean, very bad exposure in a media sense. I mean, I worked in Afghanistan for a very long time, helping kids and parents that have been involved in suicide attacks. When they show pictures and they show my face and write certain things about how we operate, it endangers me from doing that work anymore. I mean, this is a direct correlation. Essentially, you guys are in danger to us. I mean, I was very taken back by it. And I mean, the sad part is unless it's changed, OUR, will fold up shop and they'll disappear like anyone else did. This is an opportunity for us to work together when it's not complex situation of violence and destruction and things like that. Places like Nepal, where there's a chance to rebuild and have systemic change for future. We're not worried about necessarily violence. We're worried about the reputation and the building relationships. So when that is the case, people tend to kind of want the glory and the visible kind of look what I did kind of mentality. Those are the things that organizations need to put aside because otherwise, unless we do start working together and put our egos in place, we won't have any opportunity to make real change in the future. So I think with this opportunity, please help. It's unfortunate that we came across the world. Coming from Colorado to Nepal is no small feat, but it's very, very small in the sense of what I can do to assist you guys and what you do. I mean, what we do is very short term. Where here we do an operation, what you guys do is weeks and months and years of effort. And I mean, that's no small toll on you guys as a human being. What we go through is very momentary. What you guys do is truly impressive. It's sad that it's come to this point. M says, yeah, like first of all, I don't know how OUR got contact of blank. We did not invite them. Without our invitation, they came here on the 25th of August in 2015 with together like blank, OUR and blank. Here comes in Ed Smart. D says Elizabeth Smart, Ed Smart. M says, and at that time from OUR, Ed Mart, Ed Smart. D says Ed Smart. M says representative, yeah. And at that time, we sit together, 3 organizations, blank and OUR. So our mission was same. So I was agree. Our mission was same. So next time I meet blank and him and another man second time. They came and call us. I think they got my information through Ed Smart, maybe. I don't know. D says, I think blank for sure. M says, yeah, blank. They came here and I immediately organized meeting with police because that was a goodwill, good cause. He was ready to give us little quality time for good cause. I requested him many times, please give us, he was so busy. I took you to the office and another day we invited, there was a little Holly and they came here and gave us, they wanted to, they wrote me, they have a surprise gift for blank. This is not a gift from OUR. We want to give personally from like you blank. So we want to give you some surprise gift. But at that time, due to my training, I was not there. They took our staff and gave red color of scooter. And they went and sometimes like talk with blank about it. We are going to expand our working area. If OUR can get involved financially, they can. I talk in Facebook blank only, and he called me and sometimes he did not respond. Sometime he did not, and we are not in regular contact on Facebook or in any email. In like 2nd of September, he wrote me an unknown number that was from him. And before that, we got the news from OUR. And at that time, we were really upset because we trust them. I don't know who is OUR. I trust him. I trust blank. So I took him to the like investigation. This is confusing. But blank was so upset. We can meet her right now also. She had 104-degree fever. She can't go. She is not able to go to her studies since 10 days. Yeah. She got re-traumatized. And who take responsibility of that? We, as someone who wasn't there for that event, we are willing to take that. M says, oh, this is going to be a lot. But then at that time, blank was there. I asked blank, who is OUR, and OUR blank was here together. I introduced both organizations the same day. So I asked to blank because blank is working with us very closely. So I asked to her, maybe she knows OUR very clearly. And she was so upset. She already had a copy, was there. And also one here, invited you guys to talk holiday to that festival. At that day, I was so busy, but it was very important to talk. So on behalf of my side, behalf of blank, we were all busy in managing the festival. So I gave permission to the blank to talk to you guys about this because they were a part of blank also. And they know the OUR Help International. That's why she also works with Help International. We work, like we introduced OUR blank the same day, but from that day, we have good experience with blank, but very bad experience with OUR. So they are helping us regularly, like when they meet, like last year also, and the time after, and right now also they are helping in regular, like helping in our children and everything, like financial part also they're helping to us. So I thought that OUR was going to in similar way to collaboration. So we talked blank, what do you think about this? She said, I don't know, we have to meet them if they are coming here and then go to the America. This is really hard to read. So they were official delegates from blank, and they were talking about this. And from only our consent, this is fraud. And you told that at the time you did not know about this. And at that time you got a surprise because only you 3 guys know about blank. Blank was not telling to you about her story. I invited you on my birthday, 18th of March, 2016. At that time, randomly, she was saying to her experience how she feels to celebrate her birthday because she was almost like suicide. And then at that time, she was very happy to celebrate my birthday. And at that time you were there, you took the statement of like blank and give to the OUR. Otherwise, other persons don't know. D says it was. I just want to say before. M says, also not allowed to use her original name, blank. D says, so we didn't know that our report would be, we'd be used for the blog. I didn't know that the report was written. Blank apparently did, but M says, blank also still in OUR. Sorry, y'all. This is a lot to try to read through. It's like, this is a lot. Sorry, y'all. Hey, Miss Leah. Love you too. I'm sorry this sounds ridiculous, but it's really hard to read through because this is transcribed messages back and forth between the Nepal shelter. So if you remember back to the lawsuit, for those of you guys that need a refresher on the lawsuit that we read through, it is in part 1 of this lawsuit read through. It detailed how OUR had taken that story, the interactions between the advocates at the shelter, the Nepali shelter, the victims at the Nepali shelter, OUR showing up in Nepal unannounced. They were getting ready for this festival. They told them that they could come down. They came down. That all of the back and forth is detailed in that lawsuit. And that is, they were trying to silence the advocates that were calling them out for using these victims' stories without permission. So the advocates and the people who were working in Nepal, along with, this is when the Ed Smart, the Elizabeth Smart Foundation was supposed to be merging with OUR. That was a big thing that was being reported in all the news. Well, because of the lack of aftercare, Ed Smart, they never actually merged, but news stations never corrected that either. So that was a big deal. Okay, let's continue on. It says, D, yes, as far as OUR is concerned, this is my 4th intervention organization, and 2 of them, 2 out of the last 3, I actually helped crush and bring down because of the way they lose sight of the victim. OUR is different because they're only young. They have a background which is not in the NGO world, so they've got a lot to learn, but they listen. They really genuinely care. They don't know what they're doing. They really don't. And we yell and scream, but because we are out in the field all the time, we don't have a permanent presence in the office. It's very hard to get these actions sometimes. We, myself, and blank included, have been crying out for money for you since we first met you. One of the issues that OUR has is because we only take donations for either investigations or aftercare, we can't offer blank unless they have a survivor in the facility. Carries on to, so how else do we raise money for them? We need to get money for them. So I really hate that. What they've done there. But even the reasons like blank message saying that they're going to fabricate it. Just to give an idea. So it's not a real story. I meant they could have used someone else's name, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the purpose of that is. But I was disgusted. I broke down crying. I'm not here to do this. And OUR, their motivations are correct. They haven't. They may lose sight. But at the moment now, they are really determined. And they just want to help and they listen. People come to them with advice. They do listen. Like we told blank, we were very open. We said, you have given us the ammunition to go back to OUR and make a change. And they have. They actually called an operations meeting yesterday and today over this. So they have all got together over the last few days to talk about this and how they have to change everything. Everything. That's what I like about them is they do listen. There's so many organizations that do what they want. They point fingers, but we will take responsibility. There's no doubt we will take responsibility. We just want to help out, but we want to continue helping in which way we can. If we never set foot back in here again, we're okay with that. But just let us help externally, whether it be a silent partner or not. We just want to assist. Our end result is to help the victims. That's all it is. M continues on and says, and before the posting, they did inform us. And after the posting, they did not information. We got information for ourselves and they all using blank in our story. And they didn't mention about blank. That is for fomenting for us. Only they are saying shelter, shelter. So it means it looks like OUR is running one shelter in Kathmandu, but they are using our photo without our consent. And this is, for us, this is a very sad and should not excuse matter. We already wrote this couple of emails to our court, our police, blank also. And to be very honest, if blank we were like against personally, you were arrested yesterday because you know, and everyone knows our legal advisor gave us feedback, arrest OUR presently. But I know you are not wrong because you told many times to blank. Also at the time they said you were cried and you also soft because they were this news. So personally, we don't have any complaint to you, but one complaint without you, the news will not go to their hands. So first of all, you'll have to take permission, but you did do, so no problem. But blank, who will take the blank? Blank is not a person who, very hard for us. She's so traumatized and now she is like re-traumatized. Fever, she can't go to school, she can't sleep, she can't eat. Who will give her this type of compensation mentally and physically? Yesterday, all day, we were in meetings. We inform already this blank. Yeah, but our legal and blank got like justice is still in our way. D says, I personally think that's unforgivable. Okay, you guys, this is craziness. Yeah, Tracy, this isn't one of these back and forth. So this is just a dictation, a straight conversation. It would be really hard to have somebody, this is just this section of it. Which unfortunately, let me see how many more pages there is. Maybe I'll just scroll through this shortly because I don't want to read all of this. This is basically the back and forth of all of that. Yeah, we'll go through. So this is the back and forth. Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll just hold on. Oh, you guys hold on for just a minute. I got to take this really quick. I'll be right back. All right. Sorry. Oh, it is a lot. It's a lot to read through for sure. Okay. Sorry about that. I had to take that. Okay. Let me go back to this. So I'm gonna go back up and just kind of scroll through this. So if you guys want to zoom in, I'll put it full screen for you guys. So if you guys want to zoom in and read through this, because this is just the back and forth with the organization that was working in Nepal that OUR had duped and used the stories of. If you want to see full detail of this, this is just going to be a lot of back and forth, and I think we can skip through some of this. I think we get the point of what was happening here, but if you want the specific details, let me go back up here, and then I'll scroll through slowly so you guys can have this, because this is a lot. And I think we get the point of it. If you want the details, you'll have them here, of course. But this is really, in my opinion, this is amazing that they have all of this interaction, um, because this really strengthens the case. Like the fact that Ed Smart was there, that was the problem with the Smarts and why that merger never happened was because the lack of aftercare with OUR. So this kind of highlights that also, which is a big piece of it. Sorry, guys, I'm just scrolling as I'm talking. But this is why this lawsuit to me, and this is the one that Sean Reyes is named in, is so important because it shows that there was a lot of conflict way back early on. 2015 is only 2 years after OUR was founded. OUR was founded in 2013, the same year that Sean Reyes was put into office as Utah Attorney General. Then early on, yes, they were a new organization, but Tim Ballard claimed to have done this type of work with the CIA when he worked for them. Well, come to find out, that's not factual either. There's been so much information, but these are legit organizations who are working in these countries like Nepal, helping these young victims. And they took this victim's story, for one, and twisted it, made it into a blog post to try and fundraise and put out not accurate information. And then we're trying to double and triple down on it. It's just been a whole mess all along with this organization. And this is a pretty good display that shows how fast there was problems with this and people were bringing attention to OUR, but there was excuses being made. They're a young company, all of this stuff. So I'm just going to keep scrolling through this. So if anybody wants to go back through and pause and zoom into this, they have it all here. Excuse me while I do this, but I want to be able to give full transparency on this. And then we're going to keep going because there's so many exhibits. But this is really, I am so glad to see that they've been documenting this. And according to that lawsuit, as we read through the lawsuit, there was a lot that was being documented all along. And she had been the lady that brought this lawsuit against them had been trying to correct the misinformation and stand up for the victims all along and kept getting shut down. And then they tried a smear campaign and tried to even affect her bringing her husband over. They made threats to her, all sorts of stuff. And that's in the first part of this lawsuit read through if you missed that. Okay. Now we're going to go on to Exhibit H. Yeah, SL for sure. I've heard that they recommended a lot of equestrian therapy. Okay, y'all. Sorry about that. Let me put that back up here. That's a lot to read through. Okay, so now we're at Exhibit H. September 7th, 2016. It says, hey guys, Damien is going back to the shelter to meet with blank today based on things that were said to her. She is pretty close to shutting down any opportunity for us to work with her. I'm not sure what was said, and I'm not accusing. I've conceded that we likely made mistakes with story, etc. But we are trying to rehabilitate the relationship. We certainly have resources to share, and we are preparing with high LE authorities in Nepal who have requested our assistance ASAP. Please don't feel obligated to help here. I understand why you may not be comfortable at this time, but Damien will be there in a few hours, and I know that the guys on the ground are very emotionally attached to blank and staff and would at least like to make amends. Perhaps the progressing reconciliation between blank and OUR can be paralleled in a bit of the reconciliation between blank and OUR. Your call. No expectation for you to respond back to me on your decision. Thanks. So furthers the disconnect between the organizations. This is from September 6, 2016, 10:35 p.m. Tim Ballard wrote, hi, blank. I don't believe we've had the pleasure of meeting. My name is Tim Ballard. I'm the founder and CEO of Operation Underground Railroad. First and foremost, many thanks for the wonderful programs and work blank providing children on a global basis. We, too, are a child-focused 501c3 nonprofit based in Utah. Unfortunately, my email isn't a collaborative effort to better the lives of children, but rather comes as the result of a series of inappropriate and slanderous attacks on OUR as orchestrated by blank Chief Operating Officer, Miss blank blank, and Executive Director blank. Beginning late last week in Nepal and continuing through this afternoon via Facebook, Miss blank has maliciously, deliberately, and publicly impunged the reputation of OUR and its operators. In addition to providing false statements to and about members of our undercover team to NGO partners in Nepal last weekend, which has caused permanent damage to rescue efforts there, she apparently awoke at approximately 3:30 a.m. to join an OUR Facebook Live event held earlier today. As you can see in the attached screenshots, Miss Blank only chose to vilify the work OUR has done. She directly insults members of social media who dared question Miss Blank's authority. She even went so far as to call herself a one-time consultant of OUR, apparently to gain credibility with my supporters. This is absolutely false. She also made statements about a rehab program and documentary that are false as well. We can prove this. For example, she says that none of the kids rescued in the documentary were rescued by OUR. See her attached post. Exact quote from blank on Facebook today. OUR didn't rescue any of the girls in your documentary, so why not make a video of the victims you actually rescued? Blank, I'm in every frame of the documentary. I'm holding the children in my arms. Over 50 victims were rescued in the film, all by OUR. I'm even adopting 2 of the kids that were rescued in Haiti that appear in the film. How dare Miss Blank imply we did not rescue them? Our joint friend, Andrew, was on both operations depicted in the film and can vouch for the truth of it. This is maddening. Perhaps she is referring to the handful of interviews of survivors who have not been healed after years of recovery, the ones we clearly state in writing in the film that were not rescued by OUR, but that are in shelters funded and supported by OUR. Either way, her statement is completely false. It's especially hurtful after my operators risked life and limb to rescue these suffering children. They do not deserve this. I am not going to provide every piece of evidence that proves her other statements false here, but they will be posted soon. We would be happy to put you in touch with Jessica Mass and the directors of our many rehab shelters throughout the world. First and foremost, I got to insert here. OUR has 0 aftercare. Jessica Mass was supposedly over the aftercare. They had one house in Utah that failed. None of the staff was adequately trained. They could not keep up with any aftercare. That is one of their biggest pieces. That is why the Smarts never merged with OUR, according to everything that's been put out, is because of the lack of aftercare resources. But here's Tim. Somebody corrected them, and here he goes. Wah! I just spilled my soda on myself. Here he goes to provide. I need a towel now. He goes on to smear this gal who's correcting his misinformation. Funny how that works out. Sorry, guys. Me and my clumsy hands. That's one thing I've been noticing. I do have a lot of numbness and tingling lately. Okay, let's continue to go on. But this is already maddening to hear how this goes. Like, yeah, SL, right? Right. I know. This is just wild to me already. Did you guys even get to see that? Did you guys miss that? The fumbling effort right there? Look at what I did. That was a good catch too. Okay, let's continue to go on. This is just maddening to read through, because this is early on that they were trying to smear other people, and how they continue to operate like this for years and years and years and shut down their opposition is super frustrating. We would be happy to put you in touch with Jessica Mass and the directors of our many rehab shelters throughout the world. Jessica is CC'd here. It is absolutely preposterous for Miss Blank to proclaim to one of our supporters, as she did today, that OUR doesn't do any follow-up with the victims and usually loses track of them. Heidi Miller, daughter of the late Larry Miller, owner of the Jazz, etc., who is the president of our board. Well, let me get back to that. Just got back from leading a rehab delegation to Africa last week. It was tear-filled and amazing. I'd love to arrange a meeting with you, Heidi Blank, and your executive team so she can tell you about it. Jessica can provide more details, and will for Facebook, about how often these follow trips occur. Can you see how insulting this is? Unfortunately, the entire OUR family was on the Facebook thread and are absolutely appalled by your COO's false statements. Still, as I write this, I'm in wonder, what is her goal and purpose here? It's certainly not doing any favors for Blank. So Larry H. Miller, anybody know who that is? My Utah peeps should. First of all, Larry H. Miller owns like all of the car lots, a ton of car lots. He is the Jazz owner, well, part of the owner. These are the big, huge money makers. He also has a big stake in the Megaplex theaters, big Utah name, huge Utah money that he's throwing in here. Like very wealthy, to-do, upstanding members of the LDS Church, all of it. That's why the name dropping is such a big deal in this. So he's using these people, the owner of the Jazz. Absolutely, SL. Do you know if she's still hanging on to every word Tim says? She's one that I never thought would get away. One way or another, my supporters, around 140. Here he goes again with the numbers. This guy is so immature. I cannot even believe him. One way or another, my supporters, around 140,000 of my supporters, already addressed her comments. Must be told the truth. Our entire Facebook followers include 400,000. I'm preparing the response, which will include a point-by-point rebuttal. And rest assured, we have the proof. Our Facebook response will also include identifying Miss Blank as the COO of Blank. I don't want to do this, but can you imagine how you would feel if I went on to Blank social media, even media event, and made false and irresponsible statements about you without even giving you the opportunity to clarify concerns? This is how he was controlling his opposition. Before blasting them before 100K of your own supporters, private orgs need to work together and stick together. If Blank continues this path with complimenting orgs, it will be a short one. My supporters deserve to know the truth about who the commentator Blank is, especially after misrepresenting her relationship to OUR and what she has done to us. I will wait until we talk, if we can talk very soon, but I can't wait long. Social media won't wait around, so I need to act quick. What? This pisses me off. While I'm deeply saddened at the clearly misguided executive officer representing Blank, I'm equally saddened that the honorable members of the donor community would needlessly be exposed to such deplorable behavior. I think it goes without saying, as board members of two fine organizations, we have a fiduciary responsibility to those who entrust us with their resources to swiftly and irrevocably correct any wrongdoings that have come as the result of Miss Blank. What about you, Tim Ballard? It's interesting to see Tim Ballard so strongly word an email of somebody calling him out for manipulating a story and posting that for fundraising efforts that should have been called out, but how he strong arms the opposition into shutting them down so he could continue this. But he claims that, they have a fiduciary duty to their donors. Meanwhile, the donors basically, in my opinion, put Tim up with all of his escorts and his prostitutes around the country so he could, sexually assault, in my opinion, again, allegedly, and re-victimize victims. There was no aftercare. Oh, this is mad meme right here. This is, for those of you that have been in in deep with this. This is extremely maddening. I'm sure a lot of you feel the same. In no way do I believe that the last few days' activities constitute the indictment of an entire group, but I must insist that Miss Blank's behavior be addressed and publicly corrected, or I will explore any and all legal, social, and other obligations afforded myself in Operation Underground Railroad. We can talk about options, public apology, etc. Likely Miss Blank will stand by her comments once you reach out to her. That's her choice. If that's the case, however, we will have no choice but to expose the entire misdeed. Hopefully we can resolve this, and I'm more than happy, even anxious for Miss Blank to sit down with me, you, my operators and rehab team, so you can witness for yourself the proof and the truth. You will see how her comments truly are libelous and defamatory. Like using a victim at the shelter she was protecting the victims of, and you guys taking a victim story and twisting it to fit a narrative so you could fundraise off of the victim's story? Wow. Sorry, we had to meet under these circumstances. Andrew has nothing but high praise for you, and he is like a brother to me. I do hope for a peaceful resolution here. Not sure what it is yet. Perhaps there is even hope we could possibly work together for the benefit of suffering children everywhere instead of trying to hurt each other and tear down efforts. Don't the kids deserve better from us? P.S. As I write this, she is still at it, still posting. Can't wait to tell you our side of how we believe she is completely misrepresented herself as an employee of the shelter in Nepal, hiding her true identity from my OUR operators as being from blank. As I write this, she is bragging about how our news stories was full of lies, and she was the instrument in bringing it down. Truth and point, the story was approved by the director of the shelter before we posted it. We only took it down because my operator in Nepal believed blank when she said that she worked for the shelter and demanded we take it down. What other false statements she has told the director of our partners in Nepal are to be determined. The emails coming in right now from my guys in Nepal are absolutely sickening. These guys risk their lives out there, and this is heartbreaking that they have to deal with the rumor mongering from your execs while they do it. This will be part of our response as she continues even now to spew forth untruths. You might want to ask her to stop digging the hole. This is all so sad. Still getting to the bottom of it now. My guys are still in Nepal. I'll let you know more when I find out. Tim Ballard, founder and CEO of Operation Underground Railroad. This is wild. Anybody else understand where this is headed and what was going on here? Hey, T, do you guys get the gravity of what these emails are saying? Like what he's attempting to do? Because she corrected. Let me set the stage once again. Nepal, a child that was traumatized by her grandfather and her father. OUR comes in, takes that story, switches it to they rescued her from a dance bar that she was forced to dance in, that she was a trafficking victim. Meanwhile, she had been rescued 2 years previous to because she was suicidal. OUR swoops in, takes her story, twists it around, posts it on their OUR blog to fundraise based on this trafficking story that they concocted, not factual. And then when being called out by the people who are actually helping the victims in Nepal, this is how Tim's trying to silence them. You guys probably aren't as mad as me about this, but this is really bad, Dean. Like, this pisses me off to no extent because it's been going on for years and overlooked. And he got away with it. Tim's email to OUR board chair after I started commenting on the Facebook Live. This was October 14th, 2020. Tim Ballard. These are forwarded emails. Some of the people. Oh, Rad Barrett. There he is again. Jessica Mass, Adam Becker, Kelly Wilson. Oh, Tiva Ware. One more thing. She continues telling the world about how we lie about mission costs. We claim it costs $50,000 per mission, but she claims she has cracked our lie and that it only costs $3K a month. That was also on our Facebook post today. Is blank in the rescue business? Do you have any idea how much these cost? I don't know where she got the 3,000 number. Perhaps it pertains to something we have done, something she heard. I'm including my VP of Finance and CPA and our attorney, Adam Becker. Oh, fuck. We are former SEALs, CIA operators. We know the cost. $50K is pretty cheap. In fact, they can range from 70 to 120 easily. We conduct an independent audit every year. I would love to see those. To imply we are mismanaging or lying about money to our donors is abhorrent. Have you seen who is on our board? Check out our website. Blank, as an attorney, you know that this is illegal, what she is doing. It's libel. Let's talk soon. My God, he throws his weight around. Oh my God. Anybody else with me? You guys still with me? I'm over here throwing a fit reading these. I'm like, all right, let's switch out now. Let's do another one. We got to switch. That was 49 pages. We are Exhibit I. Let's go into the next one. This is so freaking maddening. I don't know if I'm going to make it through these. Yeah, it should be That's what I'm interested in too. It should be easy to source these. If they're audited. Do you see how he's thrown his weight around though, with the attorneys, with the legal ramifications, all of that stuff that he continues to do? I don't know. Hold on. Let me open this. I'm freaking maddening. Like this makes my blood boil to read this and to know how long they got away with this. Revival. Don't worry. There is no pop quiz. Okay. This is S. Hold on. Let me go back. Oh my goodness, y'all. Hold on. I hope to God this does not get dropped. I will be so frustrated if this gets dropped. I'll be honest. I will be extremely frustrated because this is the one. Oh, this is the Troy Rawlings stuff. Hold on. Okay, there's that one. Let me open another one. There's so many of these that go with this. 10. T. 11. There's V. Okay. Yeah. This is absolutely ridiculousness. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to open up number 8. I'm opening all these files up because there's so many exhibits here. Maybe we'll just do 8 and 9 and call it. Okay. For some reason, it jumps to S. So it goes, I don't know why it does that, but let's go to this one. Okay. So we're going to start Exhibit S. I'm not sure why they're out of order, but they are. I don't know if this was just how they were filed or not. This is how I saved them though. Okay. This is Gmail forward available information. This is from Brent Anderson to Tim Ballard. Let me blow it up. Make sure you guys can see it on your screen. Yeah, you can. Okay. It says Monday, February 6, 2023, Spencer Austin. It says, Spence, Thanks for taking my call earlier today based on certain happenings today and information in OUR. We would like to open a file regarding potential violations of our client's rights subject to the jurisdiction of the Utah Attorney General's office. Although this week may be difficult to find a time to meet, we would like to find some time in the next 2 to 3 weeks to visit with you and share such information. Please let me know if we can schedule some time. Sincerely, Brent, Holland and Hart. Interesting. Draft attorney client privileged. Oh, shit. Oh, no. This isn't in here, is it? April blank 2023. Attorney General Sean Reyes, Utah Attorney General's Office. Request for investigation of Davis County District Attorney Troy Rawlings and his investigator Brian Purdy. Operation Underground Railroad and Tim Ballard respectfully request that the Utah Attorney General's Office promptly seek to have a special prosecutor appointed to pursuant to Utah Code 77-10A12 to investigate Davis County District Attorney Troy Rawlings and Brian Purdy, a county investigator that worked under his supervision. As detailed below, Mr. Rawlings was entrusted with fearsome power by the people of his community to protect them from criminals. Instead, he chose to maliciously and pervasively abuse that power to harm an organization dedicated to saving and aiding the victims of heinous crimes, in which had provided nearly $1 million to Utah law enforcement agencies. After nearly 3 years, his deranged charade has concluded, but the harm he inflicted on OUR in its efforts to save trafficking victims was severe. He must be held accountable to protect the public from him, and the only attorney general has the mandate and power to do so. Get the fuck out of here. Are you joking right now? Do you guys understand what this is? This is the crybaby bitch fit of Tim Ballard. When Tim Ballard didn't get his way because Troy Rawlings was doing his job, he went and tattled to the attorney general, his best buddy, who doesn't do his job, who has the same duty to uphold and protect his citizens from Tim Ballard, but didn't do those. But here he is, crybaby bitching with his attorneys to the attorney general over the county attorney, Troy Rawlings. Do you even this is, oh man, this stuff just irks me to no end. Oh, let me call Kenzie for a minute. I gotta call Kenzie. I'm so mad. Hold on. Sorry, she's coming to pick up Bella for me so I can walk down the stairs. This is maddening. Hey, Kay. The thing with aftercare is most kids who have been trafficked often return to trafficking themselves for money and items. It's super difficult to care for a teen who's been through that. And a lot of the victims, the adult victims, end up in jail. Unfortunately, it's part of the lifestyle, but we don't have near enough aftercare resources currently still. Hold on, y'all. We're going to go downstairs because I'm going to look at my hair. She dyed her hair again, dark again. This is so maddening to me, that the fact that they have the audacity to bitch to the attorney general, who has done nothing to help a single person. Not a single person was helped by, he had a duty to protect his citizens. Sean Reyes had a duty to protect his citizens and did nothing to do it. But yet they're complaining to the attorney general.
She growled at me.
You still have to pick her up. She'll continue to growl at you. Just pick her up. Bella, be nice to sis. Be nice to sis.
You gotta get up.
No, you gotta just pick her up. You can't.
No, I don't trust her.
Oh my God, are you that scared? Hold on.
That dog's evil.
Here, you carry this then.
Okay.
And this. And that.
Okay. Hello.
Come here.
Freaking jerk, man.
She doesn't do it to me.
Because it's your dog.
She don't growl at me.
That dog hates me.
This is your dog.
No, it ain't.
Supposed to be, though.
Supposed to be.
Kenzie's gotta carry you guys. I gotta carry my baby. Everybody always can't on a baby. Oh. My baby. Okay.
Now show them my hair. Now they can see. My hair is black.
All right, let's go back out.
Oh, here.
Sean Reyes is not my favorite person
There you
either.
go.
Thank you,
Bye.
sis. Yeah, he's definitely not. The hair. Oh my gosh, Chesh, did you see you got a whole shout out the other day about your hair? I about fell over. Okay, we'll get back to reading this. I just have to take a break because this is so maddening to me, especially knowing that Sean Reyes, after this lawsuit dropped, it wasn't even 2 weeks after this that he is now stating that he's not running for re-election. Yeah, it's a super sad process. And you think about the millions of dollars that OUR brought in over the last how many years, and none of it has gone to aftercare. That's why I'm so glad that the Elizabeth Smart Foundation didn't merge with them, but still, millions of dollars. This is my biggest problem. Millions of dollars has been funneled into organizations like OUR, and none of it did anything to really help anybody. Yep, Sean only protects his buddies. Okay, let's go back to reading this. This is just maddening. Oh, yes. I can't remember exactly what was said, but something about your hair's one side is manly. Something to do with it's manly on one side and something else. It was so ridiculous. She can't even keep her stuff straight. She just goes off the deep end. It was in her exposure of Jesse video, which I thought was hysterical because, I mean, anybody could see from a mile away where that was headed. But all right, back to this. Okay. This is just maddening. After nearly 3 years, his deranged charade has concluded, but the harm he inflicted on OUR and its efforts to save trafficking victims was severe. He must be held accountable to protect the public from him, and only the Attorney General has the mandate and power to do so. As a nation founded on liberty, protected by the bedrock principle of equality under the law, America is and must forever remain a nation ruled by laws, not men. Yet we must grant immense power to our criminal prosecutors, trusting that they will wield their powers justly to serve the public with integrity and conformity with our laws. Accordingly, when a rogue prosecutor abuses his power in service to his own ego and vanity, rather than based on evidence and the law, his persecution inflicts injustice on his victims and offends our core national values. Are you freaking joking? This cannot even be true. In recent years, however, our necessity, trust in prosecutors has been tested, from progressive prosecutors derelict in their duty to equally enforce the law and who have instead allowed crime to run rampant, to partisan prosecutors like Alvin Bragg, who fulfilled a campaign promise to personally hound one man ideology, and partisan prosecutors are making no secret of their agenda to selectively apply the law. Oh my God. This is the rule of men, not law, and must be stopped if we are to preserve our character as a free people. Are you effing joking? Oh yeah, Chesh, absolutely. Yep, she absolutely. Oh yeah. Freaking stupid. This is crazy to me because the big scheme of this right here is the fact that Sean Reyes was best buddies with Tim Ballard through this whole entire time. They're writing this letter. Tim Ballard's attorneys are writing this letter on behalf of Tim Ballard and OUR, who did so much misrepresentation of the facts. They twisted stories. They took victims' stories, twisted and turned them to fundraise on the grounds, misleading their donors all along the way. Meanwhile, allegedly sexually assaulting and re-victimizing victims in multiple countries, including the United States. And then they have the audacity to use these statements while Tim is doing these exact same things. It was never about helping or serving. You are 100% right. Yeah, SL, they have millions of dollars. This was never about the victims. This was always about Tim Ballard's ego, in my opinion. 100% agree with you guys. 100%. And this is just maddening to see. Like, I am so proud of these victims and this advocate for like keeping a hold of all of this BS and never backing down, because advocates like her and investigative journalists like Lynn Packer, Damian Moore, I say it again, Vice News, those investigative journalists are really who broke and kept on the necks of this organization, and they should have been brought down years ago. This should have never continued. 2015, 2016, we're seeing in this that there was problems, and they were left unchecked with power of authority because of his best buddy, Sean Reyes. And then to use this to try and get Sean's help, are you freaking joking? And to make it in, like people always say, this isn't political. It is political. They tried to make it political from jump. In recent years, however, our necessary trust in prosecutors has been tested from progressive. I read that. Never mind. Rawlings is another example of a rogue prosecutor using his office and the powers of people granted him to serve his own ego and pride rather than the public interest. Rawlings has spent most of the last 3 years relentlessly harassing OUR, a charity devoted to assisting law enforcement in the fight against human trafficking, and its founder, Tim Ballard. Man, cry me a fucking river. Sorry, guys. This is maddening. This has got my blood pressure up. As summarized below, Rawlings' abuse of power implicates key legal and professional safeguards against such abuse. He not only launched a baseless investigation and a public smear campaign baselessly alleging OUR and Mr. Ballard committed crimes, he lied about whether he was investigating them, and for nearly 3 years maintained his assault on their rights and reputations despite being shown that his assumptions and statements were groundless by the AGO, the U.S. Department of Justice, and the Counsel for OUR and Mr. Ballard. Rawlings' peculiar misdeeds included lying about the existence of an email from Ballard's wife, Catherine. Miss Ballard is raising 9 children. Rawlings falsely and ludicrously claimed he possessed an email in which she compared Mr. Ballard to Joseph Smith and tried to pressure witnesses not to testify against Mr. Ballard. Oh, man. Rawlings later admitted he never had such email. Rawlings' disgrace culminated in seeking but failing to obtain a search warrant based on perjured affidavit and false statements to a court at a hearing, which he then sought to have placed under seal forever. When his abuse and misconduct finally became unattainable, untenable, with the looming prospect of judicial scrutiny, he was forced to drop his investigation, but Rawlings' personal witch hunt against OUR and Mr. Ballard had caused significant damage to his targets and, more importantly, to their work protecting children from sex slavery. This appears to have been his motivation. Unsurprisingly, the public has not left itself defenseless against wantonly unethical, unprofessional abuse of power, at least on paper, but doctrines such as sovereign immunity, qualified immunity, and statutory protections in the Utah Code would make a private civil suit against Rawlings for pre-indictment misconduct very challenging. No doubt Rawlings was emboldened by his perceived imperativeness to accountability. There are, however, grounds for the AGO to investigate Rawlings and his investigator, Brian Purdy, for making false statements in violation of the Utah Criminal Code. An investigation would also further inform the AGO, Attorney General's Office is what AGO is, for those of you guys that might be wondering, on its position regarding potential adjustments to the current web of prohibitions and immunities that are contemplated for different reasons by forces across the political spectrum. Oh my God. Such changes would expose prosecutors and other law enforcement agencies to greater potential liability. The scandal of Rawlings' violation of his public trust also threatens to requisite faith of potential witnesses, cooperators, and jurors. Thus, the AGO has strong institutional interest in reining in a Utah prosecutor run amok and abusing his power. If OUR and Mr. Ballard cannot be assured that Rawlings will be held accountable and the threat of future harm by him eliminated by using existing safeguards, they will have no choice but to escalate this matter to every other available authority and forum, including Congress and the state legislature and the media, in order to try and contain Rawlings and prevent him from revisiting his abuse upon them and others. My God. Y'all. When he doesn't get his way, yeah, let's go after the... Yeah, what the hell? Thank you, T. Y'all, this is one of those, this is probably, oh. And then they include the table of contents, ours fight against trafficking. You know what's crazy to me? They're going after these guys, but meanwhile, they never once were transparent about anything they did. Ours fight against trafficking includes extensive financial and other support for law enforcement. Tim Ballard founds Operation Underground Railroad to fight sex trafficking. Oh my God. OUR was founded by Tim Ballard in 2013 when he realized that the fight against sex slavery and human trafficking went far beyond America's borders and limited jurisdiction of the government law enforcement agencies. Following Mr. Ballard's multi-year career across the CIA and the Department of Homeland Security, where he served as a special agent, Mr. Ballard was inspired to expand his mission to protect children and the vulnerable from sexual exploitation and slavery across America and beyond its borders. Go back to what we listened to yesterday when Tim Ballard walked out of the interview when he was asked about exactly the numbers and things of that nature. When he's asked about his time at the agencies, he said he was an analyst. Come to find out, that's probably not even the truth. Mr. Ballard founded OUR in 2013, relying on donations to fulfill OUR's mission of protecting the most vulnerable from the worst injustice at home and abroad. OUR conducted its first mission in Haiti in 2014, resulting in 2 arrests and the rescue of 28 human trafficking victims. 2 of those victims, a 2- and 3-year-old. Oh, here we go. Buckle up. Okay, I'm going to read this again. OUR conducted its first mission in Haiti in 2014, resulting in 2 arrests and the rescue of 28 human trafficking victims. 2 of those children, a 2- and a 3-year-old, were adopted by Tim and Catherine. OUR rapidly expanded its reach and pace, conducting 3 missions in October 2014 alone across several Colombian cities. OUR worked directly with the Department of Homeland Security's investigations unit, called HSI, to conduct those missions, collectively called Operation Triple Take. These missions were such a resounding success that the Department of Homeland Security named Operation Triple Take its case of the year for 2014. Again, bringing up that he adopted those kids. Since 2014, OUR's mission has reached across the world to save human trafficking victims and assist law enforcement globally. OUR supports rescue operations and aftercare for survivors in all 50 states and over 40 countries, with registrations and partnerships building underway in even more countries. OUR is expanding its mission to include new countries and regions such as Australia, Argentina, South Africa, and Ethiopia. OUR has worked hand in hand with law enforcement since its founding, and momentous beginnings with Operation Triple Take. In the last 10 years, OUR's work assisting law enforcement partners and international allies has saved over 7,000 survivors and provided aftercare to thousands more. Oh my God. When some charities in the space only raise awareness and others only conduct limited operations to provide limited financial assistance to law enforcement agencies that undertake rescues, OUR is an international leader in the fight against human trafficking, raising awareness of the issue through its work, cutting-edge media projects, and partnerships with federal, state, and local law enforcement. OUR is also on the front lines, coordinating with international law enforcement agencies to conduct operations, including undercover stings featuring OUR operators to find and secure victims and take down traffickers. OUR also uses the insight and experience of its staff and leadership, which includes multi-decade veterans in law enforcement and elite military units like the Navy SEALs, to direct funding from OUR's donors to programs and tools that are force multipliers for law enforcement departments across the country. OUR's funding projects have provided agencies and police departments with mental health support for officers, like elite canine units, specialized training that enable law enforcement officers to step up the fight against human trafficking based on the hard-earned experience of OUR's operators and intelligence network, aka a psychic. B, R supports the Attorney General's Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. Oh my God. From 2017 to 2020, OUR provided over $950,000 to the Utah Attorney General's Office Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force to support its work rescuing trafficking survivors and assisting the traffickers and pedophiles who distributed child sexual abuse material. In appreciation for OUR's assistance, the Utah Attorney General's Office detailed the results it was able to achieve with the resources provided by OUR in 11 letters sent between 2017 and 2020. Exhibit I, or 1. In the ICAC's July 13, 2017 letter, it stated OUR's generous support and resources helped ICAC do the following. Arrest 7 child sexual exploitation predators. Conduct 64 child sexual exploitation investigations. Investigate 102 child sexual exploitation cybertripling referrals. Serve 15 child sexual exploitation search warrants. Perform 162 child exploitation forensic exams, hard drives, cell phones, flash drives, SD cards. Preview 105 child exploitation, sexual exploitation, electronic items on scene during search warrants. Initiate 35 child sexual exploitation undercover investigations. Provide technical support and assistance in 97 cases to other ICAC task force and law enforcement agencies in furtherance of the ICAC-related investigations. Facilitate 4 ICAC law enforcement trainings and Utah law enforcement officers. Send 7 ICAC law enforcement officers to ICAC specialized training. In addition to these statistics, the ICAC's letter stated that the ICAC identified several children who were victims of sexual exploitation and provided them the necessary help to start their healing process and stop their victimization. Oh, man. ICAC's appreciation letters show that by 2020, the ICAC credited OUR with helping it achieve the following incredible successes over the course of OUR's funding. Arresting 161 child sexual exploitation predators, conducting 780 child sexual exploitation investigations, investigating 1,325 child exploitation cyber tip line referrals, serving 380 child sexual exploitation search warrants, initiating 360 child exploitation undercover investigations, providing technical support and assistance to 1,857 cases to other ICAC task force and law enforcement agencies in furtherance of ICAC-related investigations, identifying 319 children who were victims of sexual exploitation, and providing them the necessary help to start their healing process and stop their victimization. To honor the good work achieved by the ICAC through the contributions of OUR's donor, OUR publicized on social media some of the ICAC's results of survivors rescued and traffickers arrested with OUR's help. OUR was careful to only credit ICAC. Never were we informed of the members of ICAC who may have received any part of OUR's donations, so they could not identify them. These posts from February 6, 2020 highlighted that the ICAC was able to arrest 24 traffickers and rescue 35 survivors as a result of OUR's training and support. As stated by the ICAC itself, its own letters of gratitude to OUR. The post also noted that OUR provided assistance in 337 cases to other task force and 8 trainings to Utah officers. Unfortunately, what should have been an opportunity to celebrate law enforcement achievements in rescuing victims and punishing human traffickers, enabled by the support of a passionate, justice-driven donors, became the basis for an almost 3-year prosecutorial nightmare by Davis County District Attorney Troy Rawlings based on his own misunderstandings of OUR's partnership with ICAC. This is fucking outlandish, man. This has my blood boiling. Yeah, he did. Yeah. There's a whole lot with kids being bought from other countries. Children need families. Catherine's organization. Troy Rawlings abuses his power with a baseless investigation intended to harm OUR and Mr. Ballard. For the last 3 years, OUR's fight to rescue victims of slavery and help arrest traffickers has been hampered by a smear campaign and a rogue investigation personally conducted by Davis County District Attorney Troy Rawlings. Rawlings has used his pulpit as a public official, amplified by eager allies in the media like Vice.com, as well as his prosecutorial powers to attack Mr. Ballard and OUR. Rawlings trampled Mr. Ballard and OUR's rights using meritless accusations of criminal misconduct starting before he investigated, and then repeatedly failed to substantiate his claims. His refusal to admit his errors and his determination to find a crime at any cost to cover his false accusations turned what could have simply been a brief and forgettable error into a pride-fueled spiraling descent into misconduct. Are you fucking kidding me? This pisses me off. Troy Rawlings was doing his job. Troy Rawlings is doing his job because of all the complaints that they had been getting about the donor money that wasn't going to what they said they were doing and all of the bullshit that they were doing. The homepage of Rawlings' office claims the mission of the Davis County Attorney's Office is to uphold the public's trust in the pursuit of justice and enforcement of the law. Rawlings also maintains a website, troyrawlings.com, where he boasts of his own excellence as an award-winning district attorney, member of Utah's legal elite, and possessor of decorated professional judgment. Yet on information and belief, there have been multiple prosecutors in Davis County who were fired for prosecutorial misconduct while they worked under Rawlings' supervision in the environment he has created in the office since his first election more than 22 years ago. The irony and the hypocrisy of Rawlings' self-praise, including citations to awards he's received for his work on the justice for children, will become evident in the account that follows. So to bear in mind the words below his email signature block. The qualities of good prosecutor are as elusive and as impossible to define as those which make a gentleman, and those who need to be told would not understand it anyway. A sensitiveness to fair play and sportsmanship is perhaps the best protection against the abuse of power, and the citizen's safety lies in the prosecutor who tempers zeal with human kindness, who seeks truth and not victims, who serves the law and not factional purposes, who approaches his task with humility. United States Supreme Court Justice Robert H. Jackson, April 4th, 1940. Rawlings' excessive pride in his image and accolades may explain why he stubbornly refused to admit his error and the harm he caused to an organization that rescues children from terrible abuse, and why he desperately tried to find or concoct a crime, any crime committed by OUR, Ballard, and those close to Ballard, including Rawlings' wife. The embarrassment of admitting that the organization he baselessly labeled as a fraud, in fact, gave Utah law enforcement nearly $1 million, including $67,000, to Rawlings' own county, was apparently too much for his fragile pride to bear. Rawlings' descent into lies, intimidation, and manipulation to avoid simply admitting the error was a selfish and corrupt course of action that must be investigated. I'll be damned. Lorraine, right? Oh. I'll be damned. The level of disconnect in this, the complete flip-flop against this. Like, I am... Troy Rawlings was doing his job investigating OUR and Tim Ballard. They were... to see all this in writing of how they were trying to silence Troy Rawlings from doing his job is mind-blowing. Rawlings' initial social media attacks on OUR and Mr. Ballard in the summer of 2020, OUR was experiencing astounding growth, success, and media attention. But then in September of 2020, Rawlings began to target OUR and Mr. Ballard on social media, seemingly due to Rawlings' misimpression that OUR was improperly claiming credit for ICAC and Davis County operations. OUR never published any posts or claims about supporting operations in Davis County because it didn't even know at the time a portion of its donations were sent to Davis County. The first sign of trouble began on September 4th, 2022, 2020. Must be a typo. When Rawlings made a token attempt to set up a meeting with Mr. Ballard. Though Mr. Ballard's assistant replied on the same day to set up the meeting, Rawlings never responded to confirm a meeting. Rather than follow through with his inquiry and take up concern with OUR, Rawlings jumped to publishing social media posts shaming OUR without directly naming the organization. On September 7th, 2020, Rawlings published a post clearly targeting OUR and Mr. Ballard without mentioning them by name and promising his office would be making further announcements in the relatively near future. Please be aware of any individual, entity, or organization who solicits your money and may be claiming credit for work to protect children that is actually done by our task force and other law enforcement organizations in Utah and around the world. Get the details before parting with your cash. You will be hearing more from our office about this in the relatively near future. I don't see anything wrong with that. Throughout September 2020, Rawlings expanded his thinly veiled campaign against OUR, repeatedly posting cryptic statements about con artists and fraudulent nonprofits and impugning those who acknowledge that they were called by God to do charitable work and serve the most vulnerable, a clear reference to Mr. Ballard and his public witness that he was called to found OUR. On September 9th, 2020, Rawlings posted on Instagram the statutory definition of witness tampering alongside a statement calling out charities using non-disclosure agreements to silence cooperation with investigators. Sounds like they were feeling the heat. But funny, Troy isn't naming them, so why would they think it's about them? If any individual or entity, including a purported 501c3 charitable organization, threatens to sue you civilly for a supposed violation of a non-disclosure agreement, if you cooperate truthfully with a criminal investigation or that person or entity, those sections of the Utah Code are implicated. Thanks to those who have cooperated to date, and for those of you who are expressing fear of being sued if you cooperate, take heart. An NDA will not protect the vindictive fraudster threatening you. The law will protect you. On September 11th, 2020, Rawlings finally responded to Mr. Ballard's assistant about scheduling a meeting with Mr. Ballard, stating that his investigator would soon talk with Mr. Ballard about that Rawlings himself no longer needed to visit Mr. Ballard. Between September 9th and 19th, 2020, Rawlings posted, "We didn't see those posts in the materials you provided. Do you have them preserved somewhere?" To Instagram, the statutory definition of communications fraud and a message warning about con artists in Utah using nonprofits to scam the public. I mean, hello. Utah has seen more than her share of con artists over the years. It's not just a thing of the past. They still exist. Get the details before you part with your money. One quick example, find out how much money of the money being contributed to the supposed nonprofit charitable organization is actually going to the con man and his friends, his family and friends. Find out how much is being funneled into other organizations that use it for nonprofit purposes. Find out how much is going to campaign contributions for those running for elected office. Details do not mean simply listening to a sob story, even if the con invokes religion. Well, on September 19th, 2020, Rawlings published an Instagram post implying that OUR's social media posts highlighting the results achieved by law enforcement agencies with OUR supports were lies. Any non-law enforcement entity, individual, charitable organization asking you for money or claiming to somehow have involvement in and take any degree of credit for internet crimes against children, investigations and arrests with respect to Davis County, Utah, and our joint state and federal task force with the Attorney General's office and federal agencies is lying to you. They have absolutely zero involvement in any of these arrests and successful prosecutions. You see on display on the wall of shame at the Davis County Attorney's Office. Ask other federal, state, and local agencies exactly what these entities and individuals have supposedly done to assist with their investigations, arrests, and prosecutions before parting with your money. It is more than simply offensive. They are somehow claiming credit for the work of legitimate law enforcement agents and making a profit and lucrative living off those real agents' actual work. Additional witnesses, do not be afraid of their NDA. They cannot successfully sue you for cooperating truthfully with law enforcement. Just because someone claims they are called of God when asking for your money does not necessarily mean they actually are. Fraud, scam, crime. And then it's got a blurry photo of the Instagram post. Rawlings published these posts without either Rawlings himself or anyone from his office ever speaking with Mr. Ballard or anyone else at OUR about Rawlings' supposed concern. Instead, Rawlings, as a public prosecutor and with full power impeter of the state behind him, used his office as a platform to defame OUR on social media and effectively call OUR and Tim Ballard fraudsters before completing an investigation and without bringing formal charges against them. Rawlings amplifies his baseless statements through a Fox 13 news story about his investigation despite being informed of their falsity, and then provides false information to the Utah Attorney General's office. On October 6, 2020, OUR learned that Fox 13 would be running a story on Rawlings' accusations against OUR. As a former defense attorney and veteran prosecutor, Rawlings knew that an accusation from a prosecutor is a bell that once rung cannot be unrung. Once Rawlings' accusation as a public prosecutor were out in the media, OUR would be tagged with the label under criminal investigation by Rawlings' office. For an organization that relies on the goodwill of donors and to fund law enforcement operations and operations in partnership with law enforcement agencies, the accusation would cause immediate and long-lasting damage despite the presumption of innocence. Not only would Rawlings know this, his public smear campaign before completing an investigation or filing charges seems to have counted on it. Unlike formal charges with which present the accused the opportunity to have his day in court and obtain vindication of his innocence, a highly publicized investigation and official accusation of uncharged criminal wrongdoing leaves the accused without any ability to defend himself except with denials. The prosecutor's public accusations leave the accused with the stain of suspected wrongdoing in the public eye, leaving the prosecutor's grace or whim as the only way to clear their name. On October 7th, 2020, before the Fox 13 news story would be released, OUR's counsel called Rawlings to attempt to correct his apparent misunderstanding about OUR's support for law enforcement in partnership with the ICAC. OUR's counsel told Rawlings about OUR's almost $1 million in support for the ICAC and the gratitude letters from the ICAC specifically crediting OUR's support for helping the ICAC achieve the arrest, investigation, and rescue statistics it shared with OUR. OUR's counsel followed up on the call by sending Rawlings the 11 ICAC gratitude letters supporting documentation showing that OUR made payments to the ICAC. Rawlings confirmed receipt of these materials from OUR. After being put on notice that he was recklessly peddling false information, Rawlings contacted the Utah Attorney General's office to confirm OUR's representations about the money it provided to the AGO and to ask which cases in Davis County OUR's donations had assisted. But as with his social media posts, Rawlings falsely asserted in his communication with the Office of the Attorney General that OUR claimed credit for operations by law enforcement in Davis County, though OUR never made any such claims about any operation in Davis County. Even 2 years later, in the fall of 2022, Rawlings would perpetuate this lie to the LDS Church Council member David Jordan, still claiming OUR took credit for the work of Davis County. Oh my God, this is a lot. And then there's a little tiny email attached here. I can't read that, y'all. That's way too small. Come on, buddy. Even though Rawlings learned from OUR that his claims that OUR was run by con artists who stole credit for law enforcement operations were false, Rawlings refused to correct or moderate his statements to Fox 13 News. Though Rawlings was waiting for the Utah Attorney General's office confirmation of OUR's donation to ICAC as of October 7th, 2020, his call with OUR's counsel and the ICAC documents sent to him by OUR were enough to show that Rawlings' initial bombastic accusations and suspicions were not true. Despite this, Rawlings refused to correct or moderate his statements to Fox 13 News or his social media posts. This is wild. Due to Rawlings' failure to correct his misimpressions and statements, Fox 13 News ran its story stating that OUR was under investigation by Rawlings based on alleged complaints Rawlings had received about OUR. As Rawlings clearly intended, Fox 13 drew the obvious connection between Rawlings' social media posts about a nonprofit tampering with witnesses, engaging in communications fraud, and stealing credit for law enforcement operations, and Rawlings' announcement that he was investigating OUR less than a month later. Thus, Rawlings confirmed to the public that his social media posts were directed at OUR and that he was using his voice as a prosecutor to declare that OUR and Mr. Ballard were committing scams, intimidating witnesses, engaging in fraud, and that he was investigating them. Here's the Fox 13 news story. Give me 1 second. I got to give this little jerk treat. Y'all, this is so frustrating. I am so angry over this. I'm not talking to you, sis. Kenzie's in here answering me. Kenzie goes, why? What? What are you talking? What are you mad about, Mom? This is so much BS. Hey, Aussie. This is just I'm speechless. Not really. I have a lot to say about this. But this is maddening to watch how many people have supported this bullshit and kept up the charades and they used, this is where I get real angry. Sean Reyes knew, Utah Attorney General knew what was going on, in my opinion, all along. And he helped Tim Ballard and OUR silence the opposition and completely degrade the victims. This is why I have a hard time with the fact that he's just gonna not run for re-election. No, sorry. Never. This is so not okay. All of this is not okay. Okay, let's continue on. By letting Fox 13 broadcast the story without alerting them to exculpatory information OUR provided to him, Rawlings manipulated Fox 13 News to use it as a proxy in his personal war on Mr. Ballard and OUR. He also humiliated OUR by talking out both sides of his mouth before the story ran. Rawlings told OUR's general counsel before the Fox 13 News story that OUR was not under investigation. Naturally, this led to OUR to state to Fox 13 News for the story that OUR did not believe it was under investigation. Ma'am, can you quit making noise? Rawlings then told Fox 13 News that OUR was under investigation. The result was that OUR was humiliated in the story by its statement that it did not believe it was under investigation, when the same story Rawlings directly stated OUR was under investigation. His baseless investigation and smear campaign. Throughout Rawlings' campaign against OUR, he employed a duplicitous tactic against OUR and Mr. Ballard repeatedly, falsely promising in one moment that OUR was not under investigation or that the investigation would soon be closed before revealing his assurances were a lie by escalating his investigation through some additional extraordinary action. The effect of Rawlings' contradictions and false statements was that OUR and Mr. Ballard were unclear throughout the process whether the investigation was closed or ongoing and what course of action they should pursue to defend their rights and reputation. Rawlings' tactics prevented OUR and Mr. Ballard from publicly pushing back against the abuse of the investigation process for fear that they would upset Rawlings and spoil the potential for resolving any concerns cooperatively, as Rawlings falsely suggested they could. Rawlings' deception and manipulation kept OUR and Ballard from vigorously defending their interests from his smear campaign. On October 10th, 2020, after the Fox News story ran, OUR's general counsel contacted Rawlings about the story. Rawlings told OUR's general counsel that he had seen the story and he was already in contact with additional news outlets. Rawlings stated that he intended to repeat the same statements about OUR being under investigation to other outlets, meaning that he would acknowledge to the media that OUR had already sent him the ICAC letters refuting Rawlings' false statements in his social media posts, including that OUR stolen credit for ICAC operations. Rawlings also refused to correct or otherwise emulate, I can't even read this, the impression he had given Fox 13 News that OUR was guilty of fraud and other crimes. Between October 7th and October 10th, 2020, OUR's general counsel and Rawlings spoke 3 times. Each time, Rawlings cunningly lied to OUR's counsel, adopting a friendly pose and falsely stating he had not opened an investigation into OUR despite his direct statements otherwise to Fox 13 News. Rawlings claimed that he was only reviewing a complaint he had received about OUR to determine whether an investigation should be opened, but he had not even created a file regarding OUR. Rawlings admits his ignorance, but nonetheless maintains his false claims. Rawlings eventually acknowledged that he hadn't initially known that OUR donated funds to Davis County to assist its anti-trafficking operations, but that he had now seen thank you letters to OUR from the ICAC and the receipts showing OUR had donated the funds. Rawlings claimed that he was only waiting on the Utah Attorney General's office to verify the information OUR had provided him, and that he would send out an all-clear statement that the complaint had no merit and that he looked forward to working with OUR in the future. Rawlings even gave his permission to publicize the fact that he intended to issue all-clear statement once he received the Attorney General's office's verification. Imagine that. Sean Reyes coming in to save the day for his buddy Tim Ballard. This was yet another example of Rawlings' pattern of misrepresenting his intentions to OUR to put OUR at ease so it would not dispute the fight against his malicious campaign. While stringing OUR along, he maintained his public statements that OUR was under a criminal investigation for fraud and did not remove or retract his original social media statements or the impression that he was able to create using Fox 13 News and other media organizations like Vice to accuse OUR of fraud and other crimes. OUR obtained proof of Rawlings' lies and misrepresentations about the investigation on October 12, 2020, when OUR received a call from a donor who said she had contacted Rawlings' office after seeing the Fox 13 News story. She spoke with Rawlings' investigation bureau chief, who told her that Rawlings had an open investigation into OUR for communications fraud related to OUR's claims about its involvement in trafficking victim rescues. Despite OUR's clarifications to Rawlings and the records OUR shared with Rawlings, and despite Rawlings' assurances to OUR that it was not under investigation, Rawlings' office continued to inform the public that OUR was under investigation for fraud related to communications, even though he was on notice that his investigation was baseless. Rawlings spread his false statements further, giving an interview to Vice News, the same news outlet that referred to pedophiles as minor attracted persons. That's all they've had about Vice. Between October 2020 and March 2022, Rawlings was quoted in Fox News, Grit Daily, Vice, Romper, Daily Mail, New York Times, the Ogden Standard Examiner, the Herald Journal, The Atlantic. OUR's counsel responded with a letter to Rawlings alerting him to the damage he had done to OUR. Rawlings doubled down, claiming his investigation was fruitful and productive. Holy crap. On October 13th, 2020, Rawlings received an email from Alan White of the Utah Attorney General's office confirming that OUR donated $950,000 to the ICAC over the previous 4 years. White stated that OUR's funds were used for the ICAC's Officer Wellness Program, and remaining funds were passed to ICAC affiliates throughout Utah each year. Indeed, Rawlings must have been shocked to read that his own office received $67,000 of OUR donated funds from ICAC under this program. White informed Rawlings that all the money Davis County received from ICAC would have been donated to OUR and referred Rawlings to the Memorandum of Understanding that regulated the use and disbursement of ICAC funds. This information should have conclusively ended Rawlings' investigation. This is Mr. Troy Rawlings. I can't tell who it's from. Oh, it's from that AG's office. Rawlings responded to White on the same day with additional questions, so it is clear he promptly saw and read White's message. Rawlings apparently received no response from White about his questions and followed up with White again on October 26, 2020 with further questions about how the Utah Attorney General's office credited OUR in its gratitude letter, seemingly putting the AGO in its sights now too. Rawlings' confusion concerned how AGO was attributing the statistics to OUR support versus grants from the Department of Justice Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. Other than the ICAC's 11 gratitude letters sent to OUR crediting OUR donations with supporting its achievements in rescuing victims, arresting traffickers, and conducting investigations, OUR was unaware of how ICAC employed OUR's donations or the basis of White's claims to Rawlings. Y'all, this is too much. Way too much. Okay. What? Oh, y'all, I don't even know if I have any more in me in this. This is a mess. We've only gotten through 2 of them. And there is 6 more. Okay, we're going to part this out because this is just too much. And this is a huge one too. This is ridiculous. Okay, let's talk about this for a minute. Let's discuss this. What are you guys thinking after this, whoever's here? I know some of my strong-willed people are still in the comment section. What are your takeaways of this? Please tell me somebody else is as frustrated as I am. Lorraine, are you still here? I know you'll feel the frustration I'm feeling. You guys, this is just maddening because so many people tried to point this out for years. The fraud, the coercion, the corruption, the misleading, the constant harm to victims by OUR. Go directly to jail, right, Wooddrake? This is so frustrating to me. I know to most people, this doesn't seem like a big deal. Hey, Elizabeth, this is a huge deal. This is like, they tried to intimidate a prosecutor. Oh, hold on. This is so frustrating. Sorry, guys. Dexter barked. Give me 1 minute. Sorry, guys, girls. Littles are here. This just frustrates me. Yes, it's infuriating. Yes. I'm not shocked. I think reading through it, though, I've read most of this stuff already. But I think just reading through it, especially after watching Sean Reyes say that he's not going to run for re-election, is what infuriates me the most. Because he is such a weaselly bastard, in my opinion. He knew all of this was going on. He was a part of this. His office was sending these recognition letters, 11 of them, claiming that OUR sent money for this, that, and the other thing. His office was a part of trying to silence the people who were coming out with the complaints, valid complaints against Tim Ballard and OUR. This should have been investigated years ago. Years ago. This should have never went on. But they had a way of silencing and intimidating every single person that came out against them. That's why I'm so frustrated about The Sound of Freedom, because they claim it was based on a true story. It's not. They claim that the money that is made from it is helping trafficking and you're doing your part to help traffic when you're not. None of the money that has gone to that movie has helped with a damn thing in the trafficking world. Which one would Drake? Sean Reyes? Mm-hmm. Absolutely, he should be. He shouldn't be able to be in office either. Davis County Attorney revival. Troy Rawlings is from the Davis County Attorney office. He got some of the he was one of the first to get a bunch of the complaints about the fraud from Tim Ballard. And he's the one that the advocate in this lawsuit, the one that brought this lawsuit against OUR, Tim Ballard and Sean Reyes. The reason why Sean Reyes is named in this, in my opinion, is because he helped to shut down and silence all of the people who were coming forth and providing complaints. There was, in that lawsuit that we read through, the body of this lawsuit, the complaints against Dexter, against OUR were right there, like her back and forth, and what they did to this advocate who was working in Nepal and tried to call them out on misrepresenting victim stories and using them as the basis of fundraisers. She had direct communication with Troy Rawlings and was in contact with him. We saw in the text messages in there. Oh, not yet. Not yet. I don't know, Lorraine. That's a good question. Law license gone. Yeah, all of them should. And Sean Reyes is the top law enforcement officer. He's this astounding attorney. And Adam Becker, who is was Tim Ballard's attorney. I don't know if he still is or not. It just makes me so mad because they were able to use the AG's office to shut all of this down, and Sean Reyes let it go right under his nose. And now, after meeting with the victims face to face, he has this change of heart and believes the victims. That's his best buddy. He's saving his ass, in my opinion. Does anybody else have any questions about this before I end this one? I'll separate this out because this is just so much, and we've still got like 6 more files of this to go through. This is the receipts heavy. Like this lawsuit that was filed has the heaviest amount of receipts for sure that were filed with it. They documented everything. Oh my God. I'm so pissed. Right? Where is Governor Cox? Good question, Lorraine. Good question. Where is Spencer Cox on this one? I hope to God somebody does something about Sean Reyes, and Mike Lee is involved in this. Senator Mike Lee is CC'd in a lot of these emails when all of this stuff started coming out, when the church started denouncing Tim. He's involved in the cover-ups and BS there too. Tim Ballard was seen, he was pushed in with the Trump stuff, and all of this is just so much bullshit. Hey, Chico. This stuff pisses me off. You don't want to get me going on Texas today, Woodrake, because I'm pissed as hell. I don't give a shit what your political leanings are. I'm going to say this. The fucking government has no business in a woman's uterus. Period, point blank, end of story. That's it. And to see what is happening there, I think if anybody learns anything from this in the future, if you have a medical procedure, a life-saving medical procedure that is necessary, please do it in silence. I don't know how this got brought to the courts to begin with. I don't know if she took it to the courts, if the medical practices took it to the courts, hoping that they would get approval to help her. But watching all of these people turn it into such a mess pisses me off. Hey, Smiles. All of this is just maddening to me. And it continues to happen. Have any of you looked up Project 2025 yet? Anybody in the comments? If you have, give me if you know what Project 2025 is, put a 1 in the comments. If you still don't know what it is, put a 2 in the comments. Maybe I'll come back and talk about that. Because I think people don't understand how dangerous and scary this shit is actually getting. In fact, there was a whole MAGA channel, which this is where I separate into politics, so we're going to get even more political here for a minute. But there was a channel yesterday that was talking about Project 2025, and they replaced everything about Project 2025 and included Biden. They said instead of left-leaning, they put Biden in every place, when in reality, this is conservative stuff. You guys don't know what it is? Okay, Woodrake does. Oh my God. Yeah, that's some scary ass shit. Maybe I should bring that up. If you want to be the next conservative political, I wonder if Betty applied for it. I can see her applying for that. It is crazy. It is scary. Hold on. Let me pull it up since we're on politics anyways. Let me just pull it up for a second. Let me show you guys. All right, let's share this tab instead. Here you go. I don't fret when it comes to this stuff. Like this is everybody should be aware about what is going on. So, Project 2025 is a presidential transition project. You can see all the top stuff applying now about Project 2025. Building now for conservative victory through policy, personnel, and training. The actions of liberal politicians in Washington have created a desperate need and unique opportunity for conservatives to start undoing the damage the left has wrought and build a better country for all Americans in 2025. Now, please understand me when I say this. I don't care if you're left or right. I could care less. I don't care. This is extreme propaganda. This is extremist that nobody should want. Period. That's the end of the story. It's not enough for conservatives to win elections. If we are going to rescue the country from the grip of the radical left, we need a both governing agenda and the right people in place, ready to carry this agenda out on day one of the next conservative administration. Oh, amping up for another January 6th. This is the goal of the 2025 Presidential Transition Project. This project will build on 4 pillars that will collectively pave the way for an effective conservative administration, a policy agenda, personnel, training, and a 180-day playbook. This project is the effort of a broad coalition of conservative organizations that have come together to ensure a successful administration that begins in January 2025, with the right conservative policy recommendations and properly vetted and trained personnel to implement them. We will take back our government. The 2025 Presidential Transition Project is being organized by the Heritage Foundation and builds off Heritage's longstanding mandate for leadership, which has been highly influential for presidential administrations since the Reagan era. Most recently, the Trump administration relied heavily on Heritage mandate for policy guidance, embracing nearly 2/3 of Heritage proposals within just 1 year in office. Paul Dance, former chief of staff of the Office of the Personnel Management during the Trump administration, serves as the director of the 2025 Presidential Transition Project. Spencer Sheridan, whatever his name is, former special assistant to the president and associate director of the presidential personnel, serves as an associate director of the project. All right, let's continue to look at this. Okay, let's go to the policy agenda. Of course, they have a book that you can buy, Mandate for Leadership, The Conservative Promise. This book is an invitation for you, the reader, Mr. Smith, Mrs. Smith, and Miss Smith, to come to Washington to support those who can. Our goal is to assemble an army of aligned, vetted, trained, and prepared conservatives to go to work on day one to deconstruct the administrative state. And it goes on to give you a whole dialogue about the books. And it's got all of the defense stuff, what they're taking the reins of government, the White House office. It goes into the chapters. It's actually really scary. You can go through and look at all of the policies. It breaks it all down. Here goes the personnel, presidential personal database. Want to be considered for positions in a presidential administration? Submit your resume today, included in the personal database. Please fill out the questionnaire below and upload your resume for inclusion in the 25. This is just so much bullshit. Training. Presidential Administration Academy. You, my friends, my friends, can all become, yeah, really, Julie, it should. Julie and I have talked about this a couple times in the comment section. This should absolutely scare anybody on any side of the political aisle. I don't care which side you are. This should scare anybody. What they're attempting to do is overhaul the entire government into a dictatorship, basically. And it is scary. It is scary shit on all ends of it. So you can apply to the academy, preparing political appointees to be ready on day one. Here. They even have YouTube videos here. The Presidential Administration Academy is one of a kind educational and skill building program designed to prepare and equip future political appointees now to be ready on day one for the next conservative administration. This academy provides aspiring appointees with insight, background knowledge, and expertise into governance to immediately begin rolling back destructive policy and advancing conservative ideas in the federal government. What you will learn. If you are a formal political appointee or exploring appointed service for the first time, there is something for you to learn. The Presidential Administration Academy covers topics ranging from how to identify appointee positions for which you qualify to navigating the necessary background and security clearance processes to recognizing and addressing the dangers of the administrative state. Potential appointees will learn the intricacies of the federal budget process, how to work with the media, managing congressional and stakeholder relations, the federal procurement process, and dozens of other topics that provide the knowledge and skills you'll need to be an effective presidential appointee. Then it goes on. If you are interested in serving the next conservative president, you've come to the right place. Presidential Administration Academy participants are professionals at all career levels from across the country and our nation's capital who want to learn, engage, get credentials, and be prepared to serve the next president and the American people by advancing conservative policy at the federal level. Applicants ranging from new college grads to experienced professionals in all career fields are encouraged to apply. We also welcome those who have not previously served in any administration, as well as those who are former appointees. Currently, the Presidential Administration Academy is a fully online program where participants can take courses on demand. As the presidential election approaches, additional online courses will be added and in-person training sessions will be available. Intense instruction tailored for high-level positions will be in person. The Presidential Administration Academy offers individual classes as well as full certificate programs. In order to receive a certificate of completion, all classes within the certificate program must be completed and each quiz must be passed. The majority of classes run 30 to 90 minutes. Since the program is largely offered online and in demand, you can self-pace and cover the material at the convenience over time. On-site in-person programs will be intensive learning and run 1 to 2 days. Faculty, you will learn from a distinguished roster of former political appointees from 4 previous presidential administrations, as well as from policy experts, practitioners, and subject matter experts representing over 65 partner organizations. The Presidential Administration Academy faculty is a veritable who's who of the conservative movement. And here is some of the things that you can get a hold of. Okay, here's the playbook. You guys still with me here? Yeah, basically 100% Civil War. Yep. This is scary, y'all. This is scary. This is about as scary as the pamphlets for the KKK shit. This is scary for anybody. This should be extremely hard for people to read. I don't care what side of the political aisle you are on. The 4th pillar of the Project 2025 is our 180-day transition playbook that includes a comprehensive, concrete transition plan for each federal agency. Only through the implementation of specific action plans at each agency will the next conservative presidential administration be successful. Pillar 4 will provide the next president a roadmap for doing just that. To learn more about Project's 2025 vision for a conservative administration, please read our recently published book. You can go through this entire website and it's got it all broke down. It is, this is scary. This is some scary ass shit. Then it goes to the advisory board. This is some of, here's some of the playbook is scary. I'm not going to go in through all of that, but I encourage you guys to go read this. Look at these, go search some of these. These are the people pushing this shit. You can see on who is here and go look at and see how some of these organizations are funded. There's the Heritage Foundation, Hillside College, Institute for Education Reform, Institute for the American Worker, James Madison Institute, Moms for Liberty. Oh my God. Don't even get me started on that one. This is Yeah, this is some shit. In the news, let's look at this. Here's the gearing up for the next conservative presidential. Like, this is some scary stuff. Y'all, please go watch, or please go look at this. Please go look at this. I encourage you guys to please be informed. Know what's going on. It's amazing to me how many people don't understand that this is what's going on. And again, this should be scary to anybody on either side of the aisle. Lorraine, 100% they are. Yeah, 100%. I agree. Hey, Michael. I bet Betty's applied for this. This right here is this. Let me see if you guys can see this. You can't see this. Hold on. Okay, here's White House office, from popular culture to academia, and you can go through and read all of this. I encourage you to go and look at this. It is if your mouth is dropped on the floor right now, it will be for sure after looking at this. Because this is, yeah. Chief of Staff. As with most positions that will be covered in this first chapter, this chief of staff is also an assistant to the president. However, the chief is truly first among equals. All presidential staff members, the chief is the most critical to implementation of the president's vision for the country. The chief has a dual role as a manager of the staffs of both the WHO and the executive office of the president, the chief of staff, and it goes through and talks about each and every transition what they want to do, how they want to go about it. This is some scary shit. How many people are on this group revival? It's thousands of people. There's thousands, and the major like extremist QAnon conspiracy theorists, and the really big like how do I put this nicely? It's hard to say this stuff without like offending people. There's unfortunately thousands, and it's being pushed by big money donors like organizations like OUR, Tim Ballard, and things like that. Like, and 501c3s are not supposed to be able to donate to any type of political involvement or type of things like that. They're not supposed to have any political leaning with 501cs, but they find ways around it, of course. But there's some scary organizations that are linked to some of these. It is honestly training people how to take over the White House and every office in the White House, and under the discretion and control of one person. It basically will take out everything. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. It is. Whoever asked that from Canada. Yeah. Yeah. It's basically a plan to overthrow the government. Yeah. It's basically the Civil War unfolding. Anytime anybody pushes back on it, they try to blow it off like it's nothing. In fact, like I was saying, there was a MAGA group, whatever you want to call them, that were they were reading this verbatim, but they were replacing all of it. They flipped it. So they were trying to say that the left was pushing this, that this was all Biden's job, that this was all under Biden's discretion. They flipped everything in it, read it verbatim, but switched everything around to be, against the right, against all of this. It is scary as fuck. Yeah, Tracy, 100%. Yep. Yeah, there you go, Julie. Julie said it. Julie said it nicely. It's a big mix of the insurrectionists, the people that see no problem with their behavior on January 6th. The worst of the worst is what it's calling to action. It is very scary. We might as well go back to the pamphlet days. I mean, no joke. Like, this is the scary of the scary. And it should scare anybody, and people are not talking about it. Like, it just blows my mind that people are so afraid of talking about this stuff. Then you have people like that Tim Cass dude, Tim Pool, and his fucking propaganda pushing machine that's got 37,000 people in there every night amping up this type of rhetoric and this propaganda spewing shit. And they're so, oh God, there's so many of them. Yep. Woodrake, yep. This is scary shit. I encourage you guys to go look at this if you are interested in this kind of stuff. I don't like going down this rabbit hole because people get so uptight and so pissed off about it, but it really, like, and I'm not for Trump, against Trump. I'm not for Biden, against Biden. I'm against bullshit like this. I'm against shit that will entirely destruct what we know. It is. This is scary. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to. And one of the big things that they push is how to convey in the media. Like, that is a big part of their training, is how they want to be conveyed in the media and what they're trying to push out to the media, so people think that it's something it's not, when in reality is, no, you're good. Woodrake, say whatever you want to say. You guys are free to say whatever you want to say. You know that. Every time I bring it up, people think I'm just crazy for bringing it up. It's big power. It's a dictatorship, 100%. This is scary shit. Anybody that has a brain should be scared of this on any side of the aisle. Nobody would want this. I don't even know how we got here. It's fucking wild to me. It is just, I don't know. It's scary. It's scary, scary, scary. Yeah, Lorraine, please do. I wish Kyle was home, because Kyle could throw a lot of this down and explain even more. There's another offshoot of it. That's another website that I could give you guys, but I cannot remember the name right off the top of my head. He brought it up the other day. That's another scary, scary political leaning stuff too. Yeah. There's some scary shit going on in a lot of places. Think about people like Betty and JLR times 1,500. Michael, we're talking about Project 2025. Yeah, the revival, that's fucking true too. You're 100% true. Yep. Yep. Julie. Yep. Julie, I love that Julie and I have talked about this a few different times in comment sections, and Julie is like one of the only ones that paid attention to me when I brought this up. Was like, what? What are you talking about here? This is what I tend to like stay out of the political arena a lot. I try, because like stuff with Sound of Freedom, that's a humanitarian crisis. To me, it shouldn't be politically divided. But there is very few people that will just accurately talk about how scary some of this stuff is for all parties. I don't care if you're conservative, if you're liberal. I don't care. Personally, your decisions and who you vote for has no concern of mine. That has nothing to do with what I'm concerned about. What I'm concerned about is this propaganda. You're welcome, Michael. Yeah, Michael, if you haven't looked at this shit, I would love to hear your take on this shit. This is some wild shit. And they want a complete dictatorship under Trump. And this is Trump's heritage people. These are the people that served alongside him. And that's the scary part, is there was a reason, and I said this before, why Tim Ballard, why they were pushing a Senate seat run there, Sean Reyes, why the people and a lot of the elected officials that are being indicted here in Arizona were going along with this shit. There was a plan for a lot of these people to be in office to help get this going. Kyle does too, Julie. Kyle does too. Kyle is very, very informed. We listen to, if you guys want somebody good, he is not a conservative. No, say that louder. He is not a conservative. That is not the old school conservatives. He's in a whole distinct category on his own. I don't even know what you would call it anymore. He was talking about golden showers. Can I just say that? Like, that's what he's resorted to, is talking about golden showers in his campaign speeches. Come on now, people. Where the fuck are you? This is a former president of the United States talking about golden showers. And look what's happening. Speaking of evangelicals, yeah, I do too. Team Marie, thank you for saying that. Have you ever seen people, like, never in my life have I ever seen people so obsessed with a political figure that they're camping out in tents for days to be in front of him. Like, I can't. It is wild to me. T-shirts, trucks that are completely wrapped with his face. Like, the worship of him is gross. Midas Touch, the Young Turks. David Pakman is my favorite. I love David Pakman. David Pakman is by far my favorite. Julie, you would like Riding Through the Pines with Jay. RTP. You would really like RTP. RTP is very, very educated. He is a former Mitt Romney campaign gentleman. He was a part of the LDS Church. That's the one that Kyle really likes. He is amazing. Riding Through the Pines with Jay. He's on YouTube. That's one of the ones that I really like. I love Pakman. Pakman's amazing. That's who I would, if I had a choice of who I would have run for office, it would be somebody like David Pakman. But David Pakman can't even run because he's not American born. David Pakman is one of the smartest guys. Did you guys see what happened to him, though? The AI generated stuff with him? It's really bad. And it's pushing that extremist propaganda that we are watching in Utah in the political offices and the spheres and all of the stuff with Tim Ballard and Sean Reyes and all those guys. We're watching all of the extremist belief systems. And yeah, it's getting scary. And that's, Lorraine, that same type of BS is what they're trying to push into the White House. 100%. Those guys, people like that, are the ones that they want in the White House because they don't ask questions. They do whatever they can to line their own pockets. It's all this self-serving bullshit. Yeah, it's scary. We're in for a real scary. Oh, yeah. Oh, Chris Christie shut the hell out of Vivek the other day, too. That was pretty funny. Yeah. Oh, you would definitely like RTP. Yeah, RTP is on TikTok and YouTube, Riding Through the Pines with Jay, and RTP on TikTok. He's great. He's local here in Arizona, but he worked on the Mitt Romney campaign, was raised in the LDS Church. Very, very informative, very smart. Yep. Anything for the boss. That's right. All right, you guys, I'm going to get out of here before I get canceled completely. Actually, I don't really care. This needs to be talked about. This stuff needs to be talked about. BBC News is great. I agree with you guys on that too. Yep. Yeah, and they are looking for a civil war. In my opinion, that is exactly what is. Yep. We thought January 6th was bad. I just wish people would be aware, what you hear and what you see, and people are so unwilling to go educate themselves and talk about this. I've told you guys briefly that one of my family members served under the Trump administration, was one of the highest ranking JAG officers. And he'll tell you on both sides of it, it's corrupt as fuck with politics. But some of the shit, and he can't say a lot, of course, because there's so much he can't say, but it's scary. It really is scary shit to know that this is going on. It's something that needs to be discussed, but people are so afraid of talking about this because they're like, politics affects people and it's so divisive. I don't give a shit if it's divisive or not. It needs to be discussed because this is about everybody at the end of the day. Yeah, Tracy. Yeah, Michael. Well, that's what the Project 2025 is trying to do. Yeah, I read through that. Yep, that's the Project 2025 message. Yep. But it's funny to watch them twist it and turn it around. Yep. Oh, Michael, it's scary. Read through some of that shit. You can read through the pages of that book in the 180-day takeover. It is. Yeah. 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 Julie, say that louder. I still can't believe Roe versus Wade got overturned. I can't, because I'm sorry to tell you, but no government or male will ever tell me what to do with my lack of ovaries, even though I don't have them and don't have to worry about that. That shit just, and that's so triggering for so many. And I don't know. I don't fucking know. I don't know what has happened in this world, but it's definitely, I will be moving to Costa Rica if this shit goes to fruition. That's for damn sure. Getting my kids the hell out of here. First train away from the crazy station. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. How many of you are pissed off at me in the comments? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Wood Drake. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate that some of you guys that are right-leaning, that are conservative, will sit with me through this conversation and understand that I'm not trying to tell you what to vote. I'm just trying to tell you what to be aware of, because this to me isn't about Trump. Trump is one person, but we should have an age cap, first of all. First and foremost, that should have been established years ago. But this is some scary shit. This is some things that will affect generation after generation after generation. And people need, yeah, Elizabeth. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And Tracy, if you say that to the conservatives that stand out and protest outside of Planned Parenthood and things like that, how many kids, you watch them and interview them and say, how many of you adopted? Well, I have my own. Well, I have my own. Yeah, I could really go off the deep end on a lot of this shit, and I'm really trying to keep my mouth in check because I could really say a whole lot. And you want to hear something funny? You want to know where I come from? You want to know why I am the way I am? My dad was one of the pastors on the truck convoy to Washington. My father was a pastor on the truck convoy on Washington. Okay? I come from an extremely conservative, extremist, right-wing family. It took me becoming an adult and doing my own research and learning about politics and the government and going to school and understanding that stuff to understand that these crises are a big deal. I didn't just and I love my family that's conservative. A lot of my family are in these groups. I was going to point one out that some of my cousins are involved in, female cousins in certain states that are involved in some of this stuff, that push this stuff. It's really disheartening for me. Oh, Lorraine, I should. Exactly. Elizabeth, yes. Yep. Yeah. Yes. Michael. Yeah. 100%. And you know what? You can be right leaning. You could be an extremist right wing. You could be extreme conservative, fiscally conservative. Like I would say I'm fiscally conservative, more like in line with old school fiscal conservative values, but not this new age shit. But I'm independent now. I am extremely liberal when it comes to humanitarian human rights issues, I guess you would say. So I'm kind of in the middle of all of it because I definitely, like, I have never been able to vote very well in a primary because I can't vote straight ticket. I just can't. I never will be able to. I am fiscally conservative and I am radically liberal when it comes to human rights issues. Like, I don't know how else to even say it. Like, I don't know, but these are things that we should all be concerned about. We should all be concerned about the fucking fact that Tim Ballard and Sean Reyes just were able to funnel millions of dollars into an organization that did nothing to help anybody in trafficking, only set us back years and years with no aftercare. We have government in Texas telling people that they can't have life-saving procedures. And then we have people in the comment section. Oh my God, I should do a video talking about Tim Pool's short on the Texas situation, because that shit had me so heated today. I can't stand that little prick. Man, I can't stand him. Yeah. Well, wait, aren't we at the lowest level of unemployment right now under the Biden administration? How does that? Oh, wait, we don't want to talk about that. That's got to be false news. That's got to be coming out of Fox or something like that, right? I'm just joking. I'm totally joking. I'm going to get myself in trouble here. Revival, take my button. Oh, Lorraine, it's extremely hard, and that is something that, like, thankfully I had my grandfather who was here. Here's a funny story for you guys. This is how much I've grown as an adult. When I went to school, I majored in English and minored in, I wanted to be political science. I wanted to be an attorney. But my professor, I had a major issue with my college professor because he was so liberal. Man, how I've changed from my early 20s to now. But it was because of it was all I knew. It was what I was raised in. It was the environment I lived in, the extreme evangelical home, the extreme conservatives. My family were all farmers. Yeah. I don't know, Elizabeth. That was just some bullshit that was on TikTok too, that they were pushing off all this stuff. And then they were like, well, we should do this. Oh my God, it's so much shit. I don't even know what's coming and going anymore. It's crazy. Yeah. Yes, Julie, 100%. Yeah. Right, Tracy? I know. And I don't even like Biden. I personally don't like him. He's way too old to be in office. But they want to talk, his administration. People always put so much on Biden. There's a whole administration. It's the administration that's doing this, not the one man. But we've came into this whole new idea that Trump, one single person. So now it's that same rhetoric that gets pushed over here. It's crazy to me. Yes. Yeah. Oh, the Texas stuff. For those of you that don't know what we're talking about in Texas, please go check that out. That is a scary situation. Actually, somebody came to my comment section and respectfully asked me, and I honestly, that made me feel so fucking good to have somebody come to me and say, I know that you will talk about these things. I know that you will hit these topics because they're important to people. They're important to everybody. They should be important to everybody, because these are human rights issues. These are, every person should be concerned about this. And it's really easy to sit on the outside and judge a situation on any aspect until you're in those spots, until your wife is in that spot. What if it was one of these political judges' wives that needed this healthcare procedure? the baby is not going to make it. And to see the comment section on some of these people doing this, it drives me nuts. Oh my gosh, Lorraine. Kyle has the best bloopers every night. Every freaking night, right? Julie, I'm still trying to figure out how that even got to the courts to begin with. Why didn't she just go out of, I don't understand. Yep. Okay, y'all, I do need to get out of here before I get myself in trouble. But I appreciate this conversation so much because I love the fact that so many of you are able to have, I don't, Ivy, I don't, Michael. I'm going to have to look it up. Right? Yeah, my ancestors. And then you have men like Tim Ballard. This is the shit that pisses me off so bad, is because you have people like Tim Ballard. Like, people thought Mitt Romney was just this horrible person from Utah in the politics. Mitt Romney, in comparison of Sean Reyes, Mike Lee, and Tim Ballard, oh my God. RTP, Riding Through the Pines with Jay. You can, on TikTok, it's he's a good, here, let me pull him up. Let me pull him up and show you guys, because Jay is really, really good. I really appreciate you guys being here for these conversations, though, because Dexter quit. Dexter wants treats. Here is, hold on, let me share this. Dexter quit. He's so bad. This is his channel, RTP Talks. Yeah. Yeah. Romney is so minor in comparison to what this guy is. Amazing. You guys, a lot of you guys would really like RTP. You can see Kyle on his channel too. Kyle goes live with RTP quite often. He gets on panel with him. And he doesn't only do political stuff because he is former LDS. He also talks about the LDS corruption, the politics in Utah. He's very well versed in this stuff. So a lot of you guys would really like him. And he does TikTok shows, and he also has some call-in shows. That's where Kyle calls in. You guys can hear the political side of Kyle, which might piss a lot of you off, which I don't care. That's totally fine. I'm good with that. But you'll see why this stuff's important to us. And for any of you that are like sitting, thank you, T. Thank you for sharing his links. Yeah, Tracy, I'm sorry. Elizabeth, he is being such a pain in the butt. I'm going to send him to you. But these conversations are so bad for people. RTP, there's a lady that comes on his channel, and she does like parody skits. She is freaking hysterical. She is so funny. And he does breakdowns of the presidential campaign, like the debates and stuff. He does that. I usually watch Pac-Man for that, but RTP does great too. The other day they had me cracking the hell up. He's very well informed. Between him and Pac-Man, they got you covered. Oh, I need to do that. I need to have my little one come on and read Pac-Man's books for you guys. We bought them Pac-Man's books, and they are so good. They are so good. I know he's so underweight. Hold on, let me show you guys. He's so underweight. Look at that little tub of love. Dexter. He's like, shut it. I got my treats now. He's such a brat. Julie, right? Not me, though. Yeah, Wooddrake, I agree with you. I agree with you that people should be able to handle this conversation in respectful manners and stuff, and different sides of the aisle too. Like I'm free. Like, people can say whatever they want. It's totally fine, but awareness is key. And a lot of people will shut it off instantly because they're so afraid of Oh, it's such a divisive topic. It's a scary topic because it's something that should be talked about more. And what's happening is the people who need to be aware are not because they're so afraid of these conversations. Oh, hello. Hello, goodbye. Goodbye. I know all of them are underway. Okay, y'all, I'm getting off here now officially. I will be back though. Maybe Kyle and I will do a members only and we will do a deep political conversation and talk more in depthly because Kyle is very up to date on this stuff, like 10 times more than I am. He can rattle and rattle and rattle and rattle. He does really good. But all right, y'all, thank you guys for hanging out with me. We will come back and do more of the exhibits. I just got to take a break from that because that is some heavy hitting shit. And it really first, like, that is so frustrating to see how they have tried to control the narrative around everything. And Sean Reyes is still sitting in office. Like, that should never be allowed. Chesh, you're still here. I would love to hear my Canadians. I would love to hear my Canadians talk about their views on American politics sometimes. I would love to hear that. Of course, you guys got Trudeau. I would love, yeah, Chesh, of course. I would really be interested though, because it seems like there's a lot of similarities, but there's a lot of. Bye, Michael. I don't know. Anyways, I will see y'all later. Bye, y'all.